Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and have a good time, dear ladies and gentlemen. My very warm greeting for all of you. Welcome to our international webinar by Faculty of Health Science, University of Muhammad Natsir, Bukit Tinggi, West Sumatra, Indonesia. Wednesday, 26 October 2022. The theme of this event is integrating aesthetic nursing practice on end-of-life care with the purpose to improve knowledge and ability of nursing practitioners about the importance of aesthetic theory in providing comprehensive services to the end-of-life patient. First of all, the praises is always be given to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, so we can be here today. And salawat and salam for our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Allahumma sholli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. I'm Aulia Putri. As a master of ceremony for this event and all the organizing committee, we extend our appreciation for your presence today. The Honorable, our keynote speaker, Associate Professor Waraporn Kongzuan, PhD, RN, from Faculty of Nursing, Prince of Songkla University, Thailand. The Honorable, Mrs. Barbara Lynn Galvez, PhD, RN, from College of Nursing, Silliman University, Philippines. The Honorable, Mrs. Feni Betriana Eskep, MNS, PhD, Independent Researcher from Indonesia. The Honorable Mr. Junaidi Suparman Rustam, Eskep, MNS, from Faculty of Health Science, University of Muhammad Natsir, Indonesia. The Honorable Rector of University of Muhammad Natsir, Mr. Afridian Wirahadi Ahmad, SA, MSc, AKCA, AAPB. The Honorable Indonesian Nursing Association, Nurse Yelmi Reni Putri, Eskep, MNS. The Honorable Dean Faculty of Health Science, Nurse Liza Merianti, Eskep, MCAP, and also for all the audience, students, lecturers, practitioners, and all the participants today. Thank you for your attention. For this occasion, I would like to inform you about our agenda today. The first, the national anthem of Indonesia. The second, welcoming speech. The third, the speech from Indonesia Nursing Association. The fourth, speech by the keynote and guest speakers. And the last, closing. Now we go to the first sessions, listening for Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya.
Jangan
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we go to the next session's welcoming speech from Dean Faculty of Health Science, University of Muhammad Nasir Bukit Tinggi, Mrs. Liza Merianti, SCAP, Nurse MCAP. The time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and warm greeting to all of us. Glad to meet you all at today's meeting, an international nursing seminar with the topic integrating aesthetic nursing practice on end-of-life care. The Honorable to keynote speaker, Associate Professor Warapon Kongsuan, PhD RN from Faculty of Nursing, Prince of Songkla University, Thailand, who had been keynote speaker at our event as a seminar research at the YRC Health College in 2018. Welcome back, Professor Warapon. Although this time we only can meeting at Zoom online. The Honorable to Barbara Lynn Galvez, PhD RN from College of Nursing, Silliman University, Philippines. Feni Betriana, SCAP NS, MNS, PhD as independent researcher in Indonesia. Rector University of Muhammad Nasir Bukit Tinggi, Mr. Afridian Wirahadi Ahmad, MSc. Mr. Junaidi Suparman Rustam, SCAP NS, MNS, as Vice Rector of Muhammad Nasir University, and also as our guest speaker in today's International Nursing Seminar. Lastly, honorable to all seminar participants, students, lecturers, nurses, and all participation today. Praise and gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for all the countless blessings and gifts that has given to us so far. And let us give salawat and greeting to the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. For his standard led us to the light of knowledge. First, I would like to thank to all the speakers at this seminar who have been willing to become a speaker and guest speakers to share this knowledge with all of us. Next, allow me to express my appreciation and gratitude to the seminar committee for preparing this international seminar. This is very important for me to convey, considering the Faculty of Health Science, University of Muhammad Nasir Bukit Tinggi is working hard to achieve public recognition as a qualified faculty in implementing a quality higher education and quality management system. The international with the theme integrating aesthetic nursing practice and end-of-life care, of course, will be provide benefit for the development of nursing science and is expected to be able to apply this theory in nursing practice at the future in Indonesia. The development of aesthetic nursing practice can be reviewed in terms of theory, research, and technology. Aesthetic in nursing were important for the patient to experience a positive mood and sense of personal strength. It is a great challenge to keep to high aesthetic standard while at the same time not adding to but alleviating the stress that a person in the hospital may experience. The practice of nursing is relieved and judged by others and nursing themselves based on the nature of nursing action and the way their action are carried out. Therefore, the philosophical connection between nursing practice and aesthetic is rooted in the professional value of care and excellence. However, Aesthetic perception and judgment in nursing are not merely cognitive process, but also involve feelings. Finally, I would like to thank for your participation in seminar that organized by the Faculty of Health Science at the University of Muhammad Natsir Bukit Tinggi. Hope that it will be provide enlightenment for us, especially those involved in learning, research, and application of nursing practice in health services. Welcome to this seminar and thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ms. Liza, for a warm welcome. Now, the speech from Indonesian Nursing Association, Mrs. Yelmi Reni Putri, SCAP MNS. Will you please?
Okay, I'm not allowed yet to speak here because it is still mute. Okay, thank you for the time. Okay, let me start my speech with Indonesian language. Oke, baik, izinkan kami mungkin memulai dengan bahasa Indonesia karena kita berada di Indonesia. Mungkin sebagai salah satu apresiasi terhadap bahasa Indonesia. And then I will continue my speech with English. Alhamdulillah, pada hari ini kita dari PPNI DPD Kota Bukit Tinggi diundang dan dilibatkan dalam kegiatan ini. Kita ucap syukur kepada Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala karena kita diberi kesempatan dan kesehatan untuk berada di sini berkumpul bersama di ruang Zumina dalam pelaksanaan seminar internasional yang diadakan oleh Universitas Muhammad Natsir. Kemudian salawat bering salam tak lupa kita sampaikan kepada Nabi besar kita Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, di mana kita diajak dan digiring menjadi manusia yang berilmu, pengetahuan, dan cerdas seperti yang adanya kita rasakan pada saat ini. Then, good morning to ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here today to add this wonderful time. My name is Putri. It is such an honor for me to speak on behalf of the Indonesian National Nurses Association. Let me begin by giving you a warm welcome to the How to Build a Great Seminar with the title Integrating Aesthetic Nursing Practice on End of Life Care. So before we get started, I would like to greetings to our great gratitude to all of the speakers who come from Philippines, Thailand, and also from Indonesia. So welcome Prof. Waraponkong Suan. Good morning. And then good morning also to Barbara Lynn Agaves, PhD RN. And then also selamat pagi to Fanny Betriana and my colleagues Junaidi Suparman Rustam. And also today, I would like to express my appreciation to all of the committee who generously built this international seminar because could not have done it without them. Universitas Muhammad Natsir is one of the great institutions here in Bukit Tinggi. They produce the young generation of nurses who will apply the knowledge and skill in the community later. The seminar is one of the way that could be improved knowledge and skill of the nurses. We really appreciate this activity and we hope that this activity will continue with other benefit activities. So, well, I don't want to take too much of time. I would like to say once more on behalf of the Indonesian Nurses Association, welcome to all of you, the graduates as speakers, participants, and committee, and all of you are here in Zoominar meetings. This event will run smoothly from beginning until the end. Baik, that is my speech today. Welcome and good luck to this activity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you. The honorable distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the next session is keynote speech from our keynote speakers, Associate Professor Waraponkong Suan, PhD RN, with the title caring for a person at the end of life through aesthetic nursing practice. Dear Ajahn Warapon, and the moderator for this session, Mrs. Dewi Kurniawati, SCAP, Nurse MS, we please.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Aulia, our amazing host. Now the main session of the seminar is about to begin. Thank you very much for preparing yourself to join in our international seminar. My name is Dewi Kurniawati. I'm one of the lecturers from Nursing Department in University of Muhammad Natsir and will be the moderator for this session. I'm very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to this seminar. Our keynote speaker today is Associate Professor Warapon Kongsuan, PhD, RN. Hello, Professor. And I will read about your CV first. Professor Warapon is the member faculty of nursing in Prince of Songkhla University, and she became Distinguished Professor of Research for Human and Social Science in 2017. And also, she became Distinguished Professor for Research in Faculty of Nursing, Prince of Songkhla University in 2017 also. Our speaker has so many publications until now and also receives also many grants. One of them is about understanding caring in nursing education through aesthetic expression among undergraduate students in Thailand and Japan in 2017. And she got about $5,000. So lately, the Professor Warapon has developed new theory about aesthetic nursing practice, and maybe we will hear about her explanation about this later. Before the presentation begins, let me inform how the presentation will be going on. First, the presentation from our speaker, and second is discussion for question and answer. And now allow me to welcome the speaker, Associate Professor Warapon Kongsuan, PhD, RN. Please, Professor.
Thank you very much for your introductions. I'm very happy to be the guest speaker of this international webinar. And thank you for recognizing me very well, especially Junaidi. And I am actually very excited too to have the opportunity to be the speakers and share about my theories, aesthetic nursing practice theory to your students, actually, right? And I remember 4 years ago, right, I was in your university, and now I can see your grow a lot. Okay. And congratulations, you have many good colleagues, right, to be able to organize this important event for your students. And thank you very much that you invite me, and I am be like a part of this important event. Okay. And may I share my PowerPoint slide?
Yes, Professor.
Okay. Can you see it, the PowerPoint?
Yes, we see it.
Yeah. So I try to speak slow so that the student can understand the language, right? And the topics today that I would like to share with you is caring for person at the end of life through aesthetic nursing practice. And the outline, I have the outline and focus on the three main topics. The first is I will introduce my theories, aesthetic nursing practice theories. And the second is I will introduce about how to use it in caring for a person at the end of life. And the third one is I will show you the examples of the use of the aesthetic nursing practice theory in caring for a person at the end of life. Okay. And you may get my PowerPoint slide, but for today, I may add some slide that's different from what you have. Okay. And the introduction about my theories. Actually, you can download from the website. Okay, you can use the keywords aesthetic nursing practice theory in the Google. Okay, and it will come up with the papers, and you can print and read it later, maybe. So this theory, I developed 2 years ago. It is unexpected because that time I would like to write my book about aesthetics because I have the experience in doing the research that using aesthetic expressions. And I had the opportunity to present it in the conference, international conference, and many people interest on this issue. And my dean, Dr. Ranja, told me that I should write a book. I remember my student like Mr. Junaidi also helped me to search the articles, okay, that support me very well to write the book. And the other students too, like Penny and Barbara, okay, they are the speaker in this webinars conference as well. So that is the why I came up with the theories. Okay, so the intention is writing a book, and then I am struck that okay, I'm not sure about what I wrote is correct or not correct. So I consult Dr. Locsin. Okay, Dr. Locsin is my teacher. Okay, so Dr. Locsin is the theorist, the nursing theorist. Okay, so he has the theory, technological competency as caring in nursing. So I consult him, I translate from Thai language to English language in some parts. And then he said, Varapon, this is the theory. It looks like the theory. And then he suggests me to write a paper to publish it. And write about the how can I develop the theory, these theories. So that is my story. Okay, so I actually this theory is just new theory, but the theories will be affirmed when is teach used, right, in the practice. So I think that, okay, when I present the theory today, if you see that it is valuable for you to use in caring for your patient, it's not just only focus on the end of life. Okay, you can care for the other patient as well. So I hope that, okay. And the theory, this theory developed based on the parents' theory actually. Based on the theory of nursing as caring, Dr. Boykin and Schoenhofer. They are my teacher as well when I study PhD in the USA. And also the theory of technological competency as caring in nursing. That Dr. Locsin theory is my teacher. And also from the Foreign Nightingale, everyone know her, right? She focused on actually on the beautiful environment. Okay. So the aim of this theory. So I have the question, right? I asked that what is aesthetic nursing practice and how to practice the aesthetic nursing. Okay. So according to these two questions, okay, what is aesthetic nursing practice is kind of what is the knowledge, right? And how to practice the aesthetic nursing, it is the how to use the knowledge according to aesthetic to care your patient. Okay. And the focus of the aesthetic nursing practice theory. So I use the short name is ASNURF. Okay. So when I say ASNURF, it is aesthetic nursing practice theories. Okay. So the focus is caring for person. So I had the opportunity to present my theory in the international conference. Okay. The audience asked me, so aesthetics nursing practice, is it caring? Yes, it is caring. Okay. It is caring. But caring with the act of aesthetic act. Okay. That you understand the patients very well when you use the aesthetic nursing. So you caring for the patient, caring for the person, not just only the patient, right? You care for the families as well, the families member. You care for the others person who involved in your practice, in your nursing practice as well. So it is focused on caring for persons, and it's focused on co-creating process. So in the practice of caring, that means you need to co-create. You are caring with your patient. That means, okay, your patient has the chance to tell you, right? You have to listen the patient and then listen them and co-create the activities or caring intervention together with the patient. That will make your nursing practice be successful. Okay, because you listen the patient, you create the activity with the patient. Okay. You may familiar with, okay, you write the nursing process, right? And you may prepare as the assignment from home assignment, right? You may write, you may plan, you are caring. That is according from your own perspective or your own intention only. But for the aesthetic nursing practice, you need to co-create with the patient. Okay. And aesthetic in nursing is the share, okay, the share lived experience between the nurse and person being nurse. That means you listen their story and you share your story with the patient as well. And it can be revealed through aesthetic expressions, okay, or artistic expression. That means you reveal about the aesthetic in nursing through maybe the storytelling, the poem, or the drawing, okay, or any kind of artistic expression. That is the focus of this theory. And this theory belong to 5 assumptions. The first is persons are caring by virtue of their humanness. The second is the idea of oneness is a perspective of oneness. And the persons co-create aesthetic expression in nursing. Persons mutually interact with the environment, and aesthetic in nursing is within the aesthetic nursing environment. Okay, I will describe in its assumption. The first assumption, persons are caring by virtue of their humanness. What it mean? It means that persons are caring, and caring is a process, right? So this offers the realization of knowing and expressing oneself as a caring person, and respect the other as caring person as well. Okay. So you will practice the humble care, right? Because you respect the other as caring as well. You not focus only just okay, the nurse provide care to the patient. That is look like prescription, right? But you have to respect the patients. Okay, that they are caring person. They should be able to think about their health, about what they like, right? So that is the meaning of the first assumption. So the second is the idea of oneness is a perspective of oneness. So this concept I adopt from the theory of technological competency and caring. So it is so this view, right? We see the person are one and complete in the moment. Okay. Like Dr. Locsin always said that even though the person has no arm, no leg, but that person is still the one and complete as well. Okay. So the being a person is more than the sum of parts that composes and make it to be the person or human, right? It's more than that, right? The person's always one and unity, and cannot be predicted too, right? That's it from the philosophical perspective. So person cannot be predicted, and person are dynamics. It is change all the time, right? Even though our feeling, you can see your feeling. So last night you may worry something, right? But today you may happy. So it change all the time. Person change all the time, and our cell too, right? Change. We own there every day. So this is the perspective. This is based on the philosophical perspective of person. So this will reflect the practice process of aesthetic nursing should be or must be continuous in order to appreciate person thoughts, dream, and aspiration in relation to time, person and environment, which is changing and dynamic. Okay. So the process of aesthetic nursing will be continuous because the person changing, right? And the third assumption is person co-creates aesthetic expression in nursing. That means, as I just said, right? You need to see the person as the co-creator of your nursing practice. Okay. So if you have this view, you will. That means you open. Okay, you open the possibility and opportunities to share the experience, to co-create the experience, and to mutually express the meaningful experience with the patients. Okay. So your practice will not be in the shallow level, but it will be deep, right? Because you understand, you truly understand your patients. And the fourth assumption, persons mutually interact with the environment. Right? We cannot not say, okay, that we stay alone in our like planet. Right? We always interact with the environment. Right? So this based on the Florence Nightingale assumption. Right? That's in the past, she provides the nursing care. Right? She used the environment to heal the patients, right? And she also decorates the bed or make the bed and focus on the hygiene care, right? That is the to make the good environment for healing the patients. So in my theory, I also value on the environment, but in the environment in this theory, it's just only focus on the objectives, but it focus on the subjects as well. And I will explain you later on. And the fifth assumption is the fifth assumption is aesthetics in nursing is within aesthetic nursing environment. So actually nursing as aesthetics in a way of obtaining special insight. Okay. That means in the experience and relating it to the aesthetic knowing and the art of nursing. This is the art. Okay. So aesthetic in nursing focus on the practice process. Right. So like I have the question how to practice aesthetic nursing, right? So in this theory, I have the answer. So I focus on the practice process between the nurse and the person being nurse. That means the patient or the co-creator. And in the practice process, okay, the person wanted it appreciates and enhance, and we believe that okay, it can enhance their well-being and also enhance or promote their good death or peaceful death as well. So that is the core knowledge, right? The assumption is like the principles or the core knowledge that when you use the theory, you need to understand that one. Okay. And in my theories, okay, I had the process for nurse to practice. Okay. So this is the model of practice process of aesthetics in nursing. So the short name I name is as Prapan. Okay, Prapan. So the process, there are three phases. Right? The encountering, co-creating relationship, and meaningful engaging. Okay. So it is the dynamic, right? The dynamic is together actually. It's together and it's dynamic and it's continuous process. Okay, within the aesthetics environment. Okay. So this table I explain each phase of the practice process of aesthetics in nursing. So the first phase is encountering phase. Okay. So you encounter in the caring situation. Okay. So you come to know your patients, right? With the two questions, who are the person and what are the person, right? You want to know them, you want to know your patient very well, right? So, and not just only know your patient, you have to know yourself too. That's you are the caring person. So in order to know the patient, okay, you use the pattern of knowing, multiple patterns of knowing. That is actually according to Barbara Carpers, right? She proposed the 4 pattern of knowing: ethics, empirics, ethics, aesthetics, and personal knowing. And according to my theories, okay, I add technological knowing based on the Dr. Locsin theory, the technological competency as caring immersing. So, or you may use the other pattern of knowing. The purpose is to know your patient very well. Okay. And when you know them, you can co-create the caring with them, right? And you engage in the meaningful process later. So in encountering, you know, not just only you be with the patient, or you be at the bedside, the patient bedside, you need to embody the oneness of person as well in the encountering phase. That means not just only your body that stand there, right? Your mind and your spirit also with you too, right? And with the patient as well, right? Not just only stand at the patient bedside and think about the other thing. That is not the embodying the oneness according to caring person. Okay. And the second phase is the co-creating caring relationship phase. It is the simultaneous process, right? Together with the patient. So this is the synchronous, right? The synchronous interaction between nurse and patients. So that means you share knowing together, you mutual knowing. And in knowing, when you want to understand, that means you need to interpret what you see, what you hear, what you know, from the pattern of knowing, right? From the empirics, from the aesthetics, from the ethics, or personal knowing, or technological knowing. So you need to interpret too. So what the patient smiling, what it mean, right? It mean happy, or it mean what? It may not happy, right? Maybe the patient just smile to you, but what the patient thought you may not understand yet, right? You need to interpret from what you see, from what you know, and you need to interpret it and understand it and appreciate it. And then you will truly understand the patients. Then you can co-create caring together with the patients. Okay. And for the meaningful engaging, that is the process of when nursing, the process of you provide nursing care. Okay. And in this process, you can express your caring, okay, through the aesthetic process as well. So actually the three phase or the three process is together. Okay, is together. You encounter, you co-create, and you provide nursing care. Is together, these three process, and it's dynamic. Okay, it's dynamic. So the outcomes of the practice process of aesthetic in nursing, we expect that you understand the experience. Okay, you understand the mean experience of the nurse as well and the patient. Okay, so and we expect that, okay, the patient health and well-being are enhanced. Okay. They may have the better health. Okay, and the most important is when you use the aesthetics in nursing, that means the outcome should be satisfaction. Okay, you will be happy to provide this kind of care, and the patient will be satisfied in your care. Okay. And it's good, right? It's good to nursing profession as well. For the aesthetics in nursing environment, okay. Actually, I already said that, okay, based on the Nightingale, right? So actually Nightingale focused on the like aesthetics mean, right? The beautiful views, the flower, decorate the flower on the patient table, or use artwork, okay. And or music, okay. Listen to the music, or listen to the chanting, okay. And according to Boykin and Jonathan, okay, the environment they see as the caring between. So the caring between the nurse and the patients. And it can be the space or the environment in the nursing practice. Okay. So you like the nurse are the environment for the patient, right? And the patients are the environment for the nurse as well. So in the aesthetics nursing, okay. So I divided the environment into two domains that are subjective domain and objective domains. Subjective domain is the psychological space. Okay. When you say the good words, right, to the patients, when you smile to the patient, or when you act the good behavior, right, good caring behavior to the patients, that means you create the psychological space to the patients. So is it the good environment, right? That is the subjective domain. For the objective domain, that is you focus on the physical or material space. You can decorate your ward. You can painting your ward with the soft color, make your ward beautiful. Okay. Or you can use like aromatherapy to make the good smell, right? Or you can open the light music in the ward, right? To make the patient calm, and also the nurse as well, right? Happy. So this is the environment that make the is it the affectionate environment, like everyone happy in this environment. Okay. For the implication of Eisner theories, okay. So you can use in nursing practice. Actually, is like I said, it's not just focused on only end of life, caring for the patient at the end of life, but you can use caring for any patient, okay, any patient, and in any setting, okay, it's broad theory, and the nurse administrator can use the theories as the theoretical framework for their hospital as well. So with the hope that it can increase the nurse satisfaction and patient satisfaction to the care. And nurse administrator, okay, can support the aesthetic environment, okay, in the hospital. That is how to use the nurse in the nursing practice. And also in the form of aesthetic expressions, right? Actually, when you provide the care for the patient, sometimes you ask the patients, they may not be able to tell you everything, right? Or something they very difficult to express their feeling. So aesthetic expression will help the nurse. It can be the way or method to understand the person. Okay. So you can ask the patient to, maybe you give a book, right, to the patients, and you can ask them if they want to tell you some things, right? they can write in a book, okay, or they can write in a book and tell their family as well, or they can draw a picture. They can write a poem, okay, or they can tell their story. Okay? That is you can use aesthetic expression to understand your patient and to communicate your beauties of your caring as well. Okay, some nurse, they appreciate their caring, right? According to meaningful engaging in caring. So they want to share the story. They want to tell the other nurse, right? I think you has the experience, right? When you take care of the patient, you appreciate, you happy, you satisfy in your care, and you want to tell your friends, right? You want to share this experience with your friend. That is one kind of aesthetic expression as well, that you represent your experience to the other. You share your meaningful engagement with the other through the aesthetic expression. Nurse can, maybe you express with the poem, you can share the story with the other nurse, so they can use as the experience to care, right? To add the knowledge, to care for the other as well. And for nursing research, okay, you can, according to this theory, okay, you can study the meaning of the experience of nurse caring. Right? Maybe the experience of nurse caring for the person at the end of life, for the S1 cancer patient, for the advanced heart failure patient, right? So the method, you can use the hermeneutics, like phenomenological method in the study, maybe when Manin. That is the subject from the theory. Okay, now, okay, I would like to present or share about the framing caring for person at the end of life through the theory as nerve. So nursing practice process derived from the theory of nursing will provide opportunities for demonstrating practice grounded in the science of nursing. Okay. So it is important, right? If you use the theory in your practice, okay. The theory is our nursing knowledge, right? So you use your nursing knowledge in your nursing practice to care for the patients. How do we use the theories, okay, to guide our caring at the end of life? So you use the assumption, like the 5 assumptions of the theory. It is the principles, it is the knowledge, right? And another knowledge, according to this theory, I developed the process for aesthetics, for practice aesthetic nursing, right? So you can use this as the framework to provide in offline care in nursing situations. So how to use it? Okay, this on the left side, right? These are the assumption. So according to each assumption, you translate to use in the end of life. Okay, like for the first assumption, person are caring by virtue of their humanness. So this view, when you translate, you have to think that nurse person at the end of life and their families member are caring person. So you respect everyone, okay, that involved in caring is the caring person. Okay. And you see the person as whole. Okay. Not see just only head, only the heart, only the like the lung, right? So you see the whole person. You provide the whole person care, right? And Number 3, co-create aesthetic expression in nursing. Okay. So you open co-create, that means you open opportunity to the patient to share the experience, to co-create the experience with you in nursing practice. Okay. And person mutually interact with the environment. That means you recognize the person at the end of life and their family member, that they mutually interact with the environment as well, right? So if they see the good environment, right, the beautiful environment, that means they interact with the environment, right? Environment is important in aesthetic nursing practice. And aesthetic is in nursing is within the aesthetic environment. Right? Nurse practice the process of aesthetic in nursing within the aesthetic environment in caring for person at the end of life. That's how we translate the theory into the practice level. So this assumption will provide a perspective to you when you provide care for the patients. And for the and like you can use the Prapan, right? The practice process of aesthetic in nursing according to 3 processes: encountering, co-creating, caring relationship, and meaningful engaging. When you provide the care for the patients. And I would like to share about the example of the patient. When you use the empirical knowing, when you encounter the caring situation or nursing situation, you encounter through the multiple pattern of knowing. So according to the empirical knowing, you ask the question, right? What are the observations in the person? What is the evidence and factual knowledge explained by the observation? Okay. And for example, in the caring situation at the end of life, like the nurse take care for the myocardial infarction, right? And this kind of person, he had the cardiac arrhythmia or arrest, and he used the automatic defibrillation. Okay. So the knowledge, the factual knowledge is the nurse use knowledge of myocardial infarction. So that means the nurse have to have this knowledge, right? In empirical knowledge about the cardiac arrhythmia, right? If this EKG change to ventricular tachycardia, that means the patient's arrest, right? You need to do like a CPR. That's kind of observation, right? This is the empirical knowing. And for aesthetic knowing, so you may ask the question like, what are the meanings? Like aesthetic, that's it. Aesthetic is the perception, right? The understanding. So you ask the question, what are the meaning expressed by the person in the moment, or in the person's health experience? What are the meanings? And for example, in the end of life care, okay. So the meaning in the patient expression, like I gave the example already, that when the patient smiling, what's the meaning of their smiling? Are they happy or not, right? And the meaning, they may express through drawing or reflection some statement to you. So you understand the meaning. That means you use the aesthetics knowing. And ethical knowing is you ask the question about what are the value of the nurse and the value of the person that you care for, right? The value of the patient and what ought to be in that situation, okay? And what are the ethical reasons in that situation? And for example, the patient, right? The patient that nearing death, the patient value prepare their own death, and they don't want to do harm to their children. That's it, their value. Do harm, that means they don't want to tell their children that they are dying because they don't want to hurt them. They don't want to make them feel bad, okay, or sad. When their children know that their parents or their father or mother are dying, something like that. That is the value of that patience. Okay, you need to understand. That is the ethical knowing. Their value that they don't want to harm anyone. Okay. Or your own value as well, right? Some culture, right? The value on the death is forbidden. You cannot say about it directly. It may harm for the feeling of the person or that they know the loved one are dying. Right? This is the forbidden things. And for the personal knowing, right, you ask the question, who am I? Who is the person being cared for? What are the intuition about the person and caring for the person? And technological knowing, for example, when you care for the patient dying and you use the EKG or ECG monitoring the cardiac arrhythmia, right? So that is the technological knowing, that you use technology to know the patient about their status of their cardiac function or the status of the impending death. Right? That is the technological knowing through the technologies. Okay, so I don't know about the time now. It's 10, so I will go figure.
Just 5 more minutes, Professor.
Okay, so the example of the use of S-nerve in end-of-life care. Okay, this is for my actually student now. She is the PhD student. So this is the aesthetic nursing practice model for enhancing body image care in young adult patients with advanced breast cancer receiving chemotherapy, induced hair loss. So when the patient, especially for young adult, right? So when they receive the chemotherapy, they have the problem with hair loss and they have the psychological distress. They feel like stressed a lot, right? And it affects to their physical appearance, sexuality, and self-esteem, right? And there is the study show that the young adult breast cancer patient has more distress of hair loss compared to older breast cancer. However, little available support. That's why we need to develop the model to care, to provide the body image care for the young adult who have the hair loss according to chemotherapy. So we use the theoretical based model for nursing practice. These are the steps. Okay, so you analyze the nursing situation first, and then you select the theory to frame the practice process. And then you review the relevant evidence, and then you integrate the evidence into the practice process of the theories. And for the in the phase of the analysis, the nursing situation, you can interview, right? That means you want to understand the situation very well and analyze it through the analysis. And you interview the patient, interview the nurse, interview the family. Okay. And then you select the theory. Okay. This we select the S-nerve theory to use as the theoretical based model, and review the relevant evidence and found that the aesthetics like artwork or aesthetic object will benefit to improve the body image of the patient. Okay. And stand pray also, right? Stand pray is we use in conversation in conversation with the patients. And the other aesthetic object we found that hat and wig, okay, can make the patient be more positive effect to improve the body image. They feel like friends. Okay. So after we review the evidence, we combine or we integrate with the process of the theories in encountering in aesthetic knowing. We use aesthetic knowing through the artwork and sandbox. Okay, that is for the example. Okay, and for co-creating relationship, we ask the patient to reflect their meanings through the artwork and sandbox, and we will mutual knowing and understand the patient. And then engaging, we use the collaboration in creating the aesthetic object, okay, creating the hat, the wig for them to use, and they express their feeling of the body image. Or in encountering, we use the empirical knowing through the tools, evaluation tools. We evaluate their emotional distress, okay, first, and then for the meaningful engaging after we finish our intervention. So we evaluate them again through the empirical knowing. And I want to show some picture, the example of the use. So in the process, like the nurse, this is the student, the PhD student. So she listened to the patient talking, right? In encountering. So the patient tell the story, and she found that it's very difficult to share the emotional feeling according to body image. Okay, and it is the cultural barrier as well. But when she used the sandbox, okay, it helped her to understand the patient well. Okay, and she also used the storytelling. Okay, ask the patient to share the story. And one patient, okay, because of what the patient received the chemotherapy, like idiamycin. So the color is red. So red color of the chemotherapy because the patient receive every day, right? So it became her deepest imprint. And when she shared through the drawing, she used the red color, and she draw the big mountain, okay, and she expressed that, okay, when she draw the picture, the nurse asked the meaning according to her drawing, and she shared that she has no confidence. And according to co-creating, caring, or meaningful engaging, okay, the final drawing, she draw the green mountain, right? And the green color show that she has hope. She reflects that she has hope after the intervention, and she feel her life. She feel power. She has power of life. Okay. And in evaluation, so we evaluate the body image through the scale and distress through the thermometer code, and we also evaluate the satisfaction as well. And the result is a very good level. Okay. And we learn that communication is very important. Right? Aesthetic communication is very important, and trust also is very important in creating relationship with the patient. And this is I want to share about the expression of the meaning of the lived experience of Thai nurse caring for a person who died peacefully in an intensive care unit. This is my dissertation when I study doctoral in America. Okay, so I wrote the poem and draw the picture, okay, to represent the meaning of the experience according to 4 reference. Okay, this is the first reference, is the reference of readiness to care. So I am ready to care for him with knowing self as caring person. My heart desires to help him with my entire competency. My oneness is devoted for being with him sincerely. My hand touch his hand compassionately. I send caring power to his heart warmly. I feel proud of self to care for him. I care for him as is he is my relative. What he wants, I will do for him. Nothing is important as his loved one being with me. In this last time, I realized I take a role as a coordinator of relations. Without me, relationships between the others may not connect. And this is the level of relationality or relationship. The level of time is short. Okay. Time for him to live in this world is not as much as time for me to care for him is short as well. I recognize. I give my time to care for him as a priority. In each moment, I do the best for him and his family. Since I realized that I could not move time back. And the level of creating caring space, I understand the others always. I value and respect the others as caring persons. In the time of death, I foster a private space around his space. In this space, everyone show respect and love to him. The one mourning is support. I appreciate every time I see. These are the reflections. And there are the meaning, right? When you draw the picture, like this is the lotus flower and the butterflies. So the lotus flower rising from the mud toward the light and being above water is viewed as a symbol of nurse having wisdom, pure heart, as well as mind, generosity, good intention, and positive energy. So butterflies symbolize the expression of caring freely to promote a peaceful death, which was made possible by the wisdom, positive attitudes, and energies of the intensive carers. Okay. And the summary. So I present, right, my theories and the process of aesthetics in nursing through encountering co-creating relationship and meaningful engaging. Right? And I present the example of the use to enhance the body image care for the S1 breast cancer patients, and share about the reflection of aesthetics using the aesthetics expression through drawing and poem to represent the meaning of caring for a person who had a peaceful death in ICU. Through this thing, I hope that you have some knowledge that I share, and hope that you can use it to your practice in the future. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor, for giving us such interesting presentation. Maybe I will like to translate in Indonesia for our student, just for the summary. Jadi menurut teori beliau ini, estetik nursing ini merupakan sebuah teori supaya perawat dan pasien itu dia lebih bisa mengeksplor ya perasaan masing-masing. Dan karena memang perawat dan pasien itu memang lebih sering berinteraksi gitu ya, sehingga estetik itu sangat diperlukan. Jadi pasien itu, jadi perawat itu akan lebih memahami gimana sih pasien ini sebenarnya. Kalau misalnya yang beliau fokuskan di end of life misalnya, jadi kalau misalnya pasien-pasien dengan end of life, maka nanti perawat akan lebih bisa tahu nih, oh ternyata lewat gambar dia lebih bisa mengekspresikan dirinya, atau misalnya lewat puisi, lewat sajak. Jadi seperti yang beliau contohkan tadi ya, sehingga nanti akan terjadi peningkatan kualitas pelayanan, juga pasiennya akan lebih merasa puas gitu ya, merasa lebih dignity, merasa lebih terhormat jadi seperti itu. Walaupun mereka mengalami penyakit-penyakit kronis yang mungkin tidak bisa disembuhkan. Jadi mungkin itu sedikit ini ya kesimpulan. So I told this our student and also all the audience about the aesthetic nursing practice is kind of theory to understand individual either as patient or healthcare provider, especially nurse. And because we can explore experience from patient in the artful way, like drawing or like poem or poetry, so they can understand that. And now we come to discussion session. Maybe if you have any question to our speaker, you can use the feature in Zoom, or like raise hand, or maybe you can write in the chat box to write your question. Oh yeah, we have question, Professor. This is from Nabila. So she have question. How do we as nurses build a trust with the patient so that the patient wants to express what they're feelings? So what kind of atau how do we as nurses build a trust with patient so that the patient want to express what they feeling?
Okay, so you need to encounter, right? Encounter with your own heart. I can say that. Okay, that is embodying. Okay, when you want to know any person or want to understand any person, you have to understand with your truly heart, your sincere heart that you want to know. Okay, you need to have the positive attitude, right? And it will, I don't know, it will create the good power. And then you use the patterns of knowing, right? Empiricals, you use the knowledge from the theories, from the evidence, from the any principle, or you can use the knowledge of disease as well, right? If you want to understand the person, you need to understand, like if you want to understand my MI patient, you know MI, right? Or diabetic patient, you need to know about the knowledge of the disease. That is, you use the empirical knowing. And you use the other kind of knowing, like aesthetics knowing. You use the personal knowings, right? You use the ethical knowings together, or technological knowing as well, to know the patient. But and you need to embody yourself. That means you use your whole body, your mind, your spirit to be with the patient. And create the relationship, right? Co-creating relationship. When you understand, you share the experience. You make rating them, right? You see them as the co-creator. You see them as your relative. You see them as friends. Do not have the hierarchy, right? And then you can understand them with your polite behavior. Okay. Actually, we have done the research. Okay, what kind of the aesthetic or the nurse characteristics that appropriate to use in the aesthetic nursing? That means the polite behavior, the caring behavior, actually, the polite behavior, the soft sound, and the empathy, right? You have to have empathy. So then it is the way to make you understand the patient.
Okay, maybe I will translate to the audience. Jadi pertanyaannya tadi gimana sih cara kita untuk untuk mengeksplor ya, gimana sih caranya untuk mengeksplor ini perasaan pasien. Jadi beliau bilang kita harus lebih dari hati, ikhlas sih kalau bahasa kitanya ya, dari hati, merawatnya dari hati, terus juga harus sopan sama pasiennya. Terus kalau misalnya kita mau mengetahui pasien itu secara keseluruhan, tentu kita juga harus tahu ya, bagaimana perjalanan proses penyakitnya, bagaimana pengalamannya gitu ya. Sehingga dengan cara seperti itu nanti kita akan lebih paham nih, oh pasiennya dia ternyata dengan cancer udah sekian lama, udah 10 tahun, terus dia sudah mengalami ini dan ini, jadi kita lebih masuk ke dalam dan itu yang beliau bilang empati tadi ya, kita lebih mengetahui perasaan pasien sehingga nanti dari sana dengan lingkungan yang positif juga gitu ya, bukan hanya kitanya yang positif tapi lingkungan yang positif juga sehingga akan terbentuk nanti itu seperti engagement ya. Jadi ada kepercayaan, ada trust antara kita sama pasien gitu sehingga nanti ada engagement atau keterikatan yang bermakna antara kita dengan pasien. Jadi pasiennya nanti akan lebih apalagi kita intinya lebih terbuka lagi. Jadi seperti itu. Okay. We have another question.
Okay.
It's from Regita. So, how do we invite a pathetic patient to express themselves to nurses through aesthetic nursing practice? How do we how it means like what kind of should we do in like the present patient to express themselves, or maybe that's the question.
So like the patient, how do the nurse invite the patient, right, to express themselves? So
Yeah, when the patient have depression, so we need them to express themselves and how we through it with the aesthetic nursing.
Right. So there are many ways, right, to express themselves through the aesthetic expressions. Right. Actually, you can ask them to tell the story, right? To share the story of their illness. Just simple questions. When they share the story, that means aesthetic expression because they have to represent, right, their stories. They have to think and create and share the story. That's also the aesthetic expression. So you listen them, you ask them to share the story by talking, and then you can ask them to share to express their feeling through the art work, to drawing, or to write the poem. It depends on the culture, right? So some patient I ask the patient, okay, I see your face, okay, and I know that you may want to tell something to me. Okay, you can share your experience with me. And then they may not know you well, right? But according to your personality, okay, and you want to know them, right? Then they will share, okay, they will tell, and then you have to active listening to them, not interrupt, and then you can share, and then you also share your experience to them as well, like friend, right? Like we talk with friends. And then some meaning they may difficult to share to you. You may open the opportunity. Sometimes, if you want, okay, you can write in the book, or you can draw any picture. Okay. Then I will see it, and then you can ask the picture that they draw, what it mean? What you want to tell me? What is the meaning of this color? Okay. That is the way to understand the patient.
Okay, thank you, Professor. Jadi untuk Regi dan semuanya juga, jadi beliau mengatakan bahwa memang ada berbagai macam ya cara yang artful gitu ya. Artful itu misalnya kayak misalnya kita minta pasien bercerita, storytelling. Jadi seperti itu dia menceritakan mau nggak nih cerita. Atau misalnya kalau misalnya pasiennya depresi kan, kalau misalnya dia nggak mau cerita ya udah minta drawing gitu. Minta mereka menggambar apa sih yang mereka rasakan. Nanti dari apa yang mereka lakukan itu kita bisa melihat apakah mereka sedang marah atau misalnya mereka lagi sedih atau misalnya mereka sedang bahagia atau misalnya apa. Jadi seperti itu. Jadi seperti itu ya. This is the last question, maybe, Professor. This is from Hurul Aini. So the question is, how do you interact with elderly patient? Is it difficult to understand the elderly? So have you ever interact with the elderly patient to do the aesthetic nursing, or maybe you can share your experience?
Yeah. So when you interact with any person, okay, not just only elderly or any person, okay, but I know that elderly is maybe more difficulties, right? So they have some particular things, and the nature of the elderly, they cannot wait, right? They like things hurry, and you use the assumption that person are caring by virtue of their humanness. That means elderly are caring person as well. So you respect them as caring person. You respect them. You show the humble behavior, that you respect them as caring person. And I think according to behavior is not just only your body behavior, right? Your voice, and you can use touch. Okay. So that's why trust relationship is important with any person. Okay. So the keyword for elderly, that means if you use the assumption, that means you respect the other as caring person. And I think it fits well with the elderly. Okay.
Oke, jadi mungkin kalau misalnya khusus untuk elderly ya, karena mereka memang sudah berumur, lebih sensitif gitu ya. Jadi kita harus lebih menghormati gitu ya, dengan attitude, terus juga dengan behavior kita, atau misalnya kebiasaan kita gitu ya. Pokoknya intinya bagaimana sih kita memperlakukan lansia itu gitu ya, lansia itu dengan baik. Jadi seperti itu. Lansia itu memang suka diperlakukan dengan sangat baik, terus didengarkan ceritanya, jadi seperti itu. Nah, itu merupakan salah satu cara untuk berinteraksi dengan ini. Oke, Profesor, thank you very much for the sharing and teaching us about new knowledge. And of course, this is very priceless to all of us. And I hope we can meet in another occasion or maybe another event, so we can learn from you as well. So,
I have a statement a little bit to my advisor, Ajahn Walapoy.
Oh yeah, please. Please,
Thank you, Ajahn, for your time, for sharing this amazing theory. I really appreciate for your willingness to join us today. And I believe in your busy time, as you tell me that since even in the midnight you still work. But in this morning, you join with me and all of our students. We are so excited to learn more about this theory. And we believe that in Asia country, actually, it's not difficult to us to deliver aesthetic because we have many ways. We have art, we have many things that to express how this aesthetic values in nursing care. And once again, on behalf of Muhammad Nasir University, our deepest gratitude for your willingness, Ajahn. Thank you very much.
You are very most welcome. Okay, Junaidi. I am always proud of you. Okay, and thank you very much for inviting me to share the knowledge to the students. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much once again, Professor. And it is very nice to meet you. For the next session, we have topic about aesthetic expression, an avenue for understanding children in the end of life. And the moderator is Mrs. Donna Amelia. Please, Mrs. Donna.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And thank you, Miss Dewi. Now let's go to the next session with me, Donna Amelia. I am from Medical Surgical Nursing Department in University of Muhammad Natsir Bukit Tinggi. And it's an honor for me being here in this international nursing webinar as a moderator for our next special speaker, Mrs. Barbara Lynn Galvez, PhD, RN. Firstly, I would like to say hello to our next speaker. Hello, Mrs. Barbara. It's really nice to meet you here in our international webinar.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay, good morning, Mrs. Barbara. And now let me introduce our speaker to the audience. Mrs. Barbara was graduated from Colegio de San Agustin for Bachelor of Science in Nursing, graduated from Silliman University for Master of Art in Nursing with major in maternal child nursing, graduated from Prince of Songkhla University for PhD in Nursing. Mrs. Barbara has been certified in many fields such as advanced pediatric life support, adolescent reproductive health, integrated management of childhood illness, and so many others. Ms. Barbara has been a coordinator of research since 2019 until now, also participated in many international conferences with many international publications like Aesthetic Expression of the Life Work of School-Age Children with Advanced Cancer, Aesthetic Expression as a Data in Researching the Life Work of Children with Advanced Cancer. And for the next 50 minutes, we will start the presentation from Ms. Barbara with topic an avenue for understanding children in the end of life. And then we will continue with the question and answer session for the last 10 minutes. And now, please welcome Mrs. Barbara Lynn Galvez, PhD, RN.
Thank you. Thank you. The first slide, please, of my PowerPoint.
Wait a second, Mrs. I'm sorry, Mrs. Barbara, the PowerPoint will be in ours or yours?
I think I submitted my PowerPoint slides to Mr. Junaidi.
Actually,
Okay, wait a second.
yeah. I already will deliver it to the committee. How are you, Barb?
I'm good and very good.
You're always good, yeah.
Thank you.
Miss Barbara, can you see the PowerPoint? Sorry, Miss Barbara. We already shared the PowerPoint.
You're still on mute.
No.
Still mute, Barb. Mute.
Miss Barbara, you are still mute. Can you please?
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
please. Okay,
So
please.
the title of my topic for this morning is an aesthetic expression, an avenue for understanding children in the end of life. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide. I think we have a technical problem.
I thought that so. Or could you mind if you share the PPT by yourself, Barb?
Okay, I will just use my own PowerPoint.
Okay, we are sorry for that.
Yeah. Okay. Can you see now?
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
see my PowerPoint?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Miss Barbara, please.
Okay.
Mrs.
Okay.
Barbara, it hasn't been a slideshow yet.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Thank you, Miss.
Mm. For a while, huh?
Okay. Mrs. Barbara, it's okay. You can continue the presentation.
Yeah, great. There, can you see now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, aesthetic expression, an avenue for understanding children in the end of life. When someone whose child is in the end of life, you can say something, almost anything is better than nothing. You can offer practical support, reach out, and the smallest of gestures is enough. Now, this is the researcher's own phenomenological reflection. It's a drawing of the 10 children that she has for participation in the research. Now, this is also the process of her own experience in the process of gathering data for the research and the lived experience of the school-age children who were in the end of life. It is a fruit of deep appreciation and indebtedness to the children for few hours of her encounter that brought her a profound understanding about the meaning of life. This is also the way of expressing the researcher's own lived experience in the whole process of this research. Now, in her drawing, you can see at the middle, there is an evil, which is the cancer cell. And she made use of this character that symbolized cancer cell, which confined or confronted the 10 participants, which were represented by capsules, indicating different emotions brought about by chemotherapy treatment. It included the secured places that help them with their cancer, the church, school, home, and even the hospital. So the researcher has witnessed how these children have faith in God to allow them to be more accepting of their condition in the midst of pain and suffering. God became the beacon of their lives while they struggled for life. And in addition, the researcher made points for these children. The lived world of brave acceptance. When I saw your body struggled with advanced cancer, I understand your tiredness and weakness, but I saw your positive and firm determination to live. It was then that I admired your strength of character. So children in their physical or bodily presence revealed both and concealed something. They keep a secret in their own selves, not necessarily consciously or deliberately, but rather in spite of just being themselves. When the body is the object of someone else's gaze, when somebody looks at them, it usually made them conscious. When they are bald, when they are in pain. So it gave them discomfort. When it is the object of a gaze from somebody, they turn to be awkward. And the emotions that they have becomes clumsy. They panic. There are fear. There is shame. While under admiring gaze, when people look at them with admiration, they become subtle and their face glows or sometimes even in a blushing response. The lived world of relationality means they maintain relationship with others like the family and their friends. Your strong arm in the critical stage of illness. Their words of encouragement boost your spirit. Friends inspire you to be back to normal and embrace the moment because they join you in your journey back to health. So children believe that their world is composed of relationship with their family and friends, and they are not isolated forever because they have their family to stand by them. The lived world of spatiality. Now, this means the space that the children experienced was not the physical space, but their environment and surroundings. The secured and healing space they experienced during their cancer, and physical discomforts that created a field that separated them from others. Living in secured places like home, the church, hospital, and even school give them ease from cancer. Home is when you seek safety and protection while you rest. The church, when you look for comfort in God, who is powerful, who can bring you in a state of balance. If condition is good, your positive energy carry you to school. If condition is bad, you are attached to the unpleasant feeling of the hospital. You have no choice, but you have to. Now, the world of temporality is the time that they are being in this world. The lives of children were temporarily put on hold because of cancer. The waiting time for cancer to be over was experienced differently by each children. They gathered strength from support because they fought against cancer. They would not give up. They were resilient. And children hoped for a chance to a different light of comfort that cancer will end. So every hour seemed like a time without end when waiting. Days, months, or even years weakened your whole being, but you made a harder effort. Now the excitement is lifted because the day will come when you will be free of cancer. And lastly, the world of materiality guides one's reflection on how one experiences things. You were never separated from your family. The link at your own hands is an extension of your bodies to divert attention. I believe you will continue to walk away from cancer. So the relationship with families and friends and school were maintained and sustained during or using the gadgets. They have mobile phones, so they can reach their friends and family. They have tablets or even the computer. Healthcare professionals are expected to have a more sensitive understanding on the existing condition of children suffering from end of life. Knowing and understanding the end of life experiences of children are vital in healthcare. This need also challenges the nursing profession to promote acts of caring that are meaningful and relevant to children's needs, because children do not discuss their problems and they choose people they want to talk to. about their problems. The importance of children are often reduced to triviality and insignificance in an adult-dominated world. Now, why do I say this? Because adults can express their feelings anytime they want. Now, however, nurses recognize that the young in society are as important as the aged, since all persons are of equal worth. Children often communicate their needs in different ways, which may not be easily recognizable by their adult caregivers. Their expressions are based on their young and immature perspectives, which may not be congruent to common adult understanding. They have their own language and they can understand their own feelings and emotions. Now, children in the end of life are often afraid to let others know how they feel. This is true. The fear of death and fantasize about what life would be without parents, brothers, sisters, and the comfort of home and friends. The experience of childhood cancer does not only pertain to the child's serious disease, but to his life in general, being in a struggle with death. Because the child knows that one day he will die. A child's experience of end of life may affect his or her health and development since they coincide closely with each other. They are aware that death is coming. They know that chemotherapy will not cure them. It will only lengthen their life. In seeking to understand how end of life, like advanced cancer, affects children psychologically, communication of feelings, not based solely on children's verbal ability, but certain artwork may be beneficial. Children will be inspired by emotional experiences to use their skill with drawings and words to embody their emotions. Because to children, drawing is play. And we all know that play is the work of children. The understanding of aesthetic expression of children is supported by hermeneutic phenomenology as a framework to study their lived experiences with end of life. Gadamerian philosophy was used in this research to guide art in communicating the meaning from the context, conveying feelings to inform others who we really are as a way of thinking, behaving, or working that exists within a group of people. The topic of end of life, like advanced cancer, is a sensitive issue. However, aesthetic experience of children reveals this into its fine-looking and varied dimensions. These revelations can inform healthcare and humanistic science for the improvement of understanding a human experience. The description of lived experiences of children with end-of-life concerns, their perspectives, feelings, thoughts, and difficulties provide an understanding on how they interpret experiences through drawing and writing. So hermeneutic phenomenology, informed by Gadamerian aesthetics, was used as a method of study. So draw and write serve as an innovative data source to elicit information from children through interview. So there were 5 male and 5 female children with end of life living in Negros Island, Philippines, who participated in this study. The data from Draw and Write was analyzed using Van Manen's approach to identify the pattern of children's core experience that reflected in the picture they draw and statements given. So as they draw, they will have to explain what the drawing is all about. So the study resulted in 19 thematic categories, and 5 categories were selected to represent each life world under Van Manen as to how they relate to the aesthetic expression of life world of school-age children with advanced cancer. Now, this is a picture, a drawing illustrated by a 14-year-old boy, which was swollen. His eyes were swollen, while the other one could clearly see. However, the left ear was colored red also because he had difficulty hearing as a consequence of his cancer. He was very self-conscious of the physical appearance of his eye, which he made a habit of wearing sunglasses wherever he would go to camouflage the appearance. He believed that the grotesque appearance of his eyes would make people be afraid of his presence. Another drawing is a child who was 10 years old, experiences getting bullied at school due to her cancer and therapy. When she went bald, her chemotherapy was then ongoing. The child, The child was ostracized, mocked with some of her classmates or several of her classmates, with some saying that her cancer is contagious and thus she would be avoided. This experience, the child opines, was worse than cancer because she titled her drawing "Bullying Worse Than Cancer." The bullying, on the other hand, did not seem to have a cordon. Parents encouraged her to stand up for herself. Thus, this, she said, triggered within her the confidence needed to remain happy and positive despite her experiences in school. And the last drawing is a child who was 13 years old. She titled her drawing, "I had cancer, but cancer never had me." So the child chose to make herself as the primary subject of her drawing. This expresses a highly personal and independent approach to what she calls her battle with cancer. The drawing illustrates her attitude. Everything happens for a reason. Connotes an acceptance of things beyond her control. Overall, the drawing reflected a highly introspective and personal account of dealing with advanced cancer, which reinforced the experience of the child shared in this interview. So if you notice that in her drawing, there are quotations. The positive thoughts, enjoying, everything happens for a reason. I can do this. I am strong. I can survive cancer. And she said that she keeps calm to fight cancer. Unfortunately, these 3 children, represented by the 3 drawings, ended their life during the COVID-19 pandemic. because they were under chemotherapy, and so the immune system was not able to cope up with their treatment. So in conclusion, therefore, aesthetic expressions through drawing and writing help children with advanced cancer uncover their experience or live experiences as they existed in their life worlds in relation to their body, in relationship with their family and friends, with others like their classmates, their teachers, with time, space, and things as they told their own stories. They had the opportunity to put their feelings and thoughts through drawing into their own words and made a story out of their drawing. Children's drawings not only reflected shared experiences of a life world perspective, having the end of life with advanced cancer, but also the distinct, unique individual experiences of each child. So the results of this study showed that drawing and writing as a method aids in motivating children diagnosed with cancer and undergoing chemotherapy to communicate their emotional states through meaningful and creative ways in their own style. Thus, nurses can use draw and write to reduce the psychological problems of hospital children with end-of-life concerns. Through draw and write, the opportunity to express among children with end-of-life illnesses like advanced cancer and undergoing chemotherapy could be an effective step toward enhancing the enjoyment of life, which includes being happy. So the recommendation is some aspects that need to be explored further are how children perceive being cared for by nurses, how they are specifically cared for as children with end of life, their needs that necessitates attention, and how the features influence their comfort. This study shows that draw and write can be applied to elicit information from children living with end-of-life concerns, both in the process of draw and write and interview. So thank you very much for listening as we end this topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Miss Barbara. Before
Sure.
we continue to the question and answer session, please allow me to make some conclusion translated to Indonesian language because some of mostly our audience are Indonesian and also our
Okay.
students. Okay.
Thank you.
Jadi di sini ya berdasarkan penjelasan dari dokter, di mana estetik nursing ini menjadi suatu jalan ataupun cara bagi kita, khususnya sebagai seorang perawat, itu yang berhadapan langsung dengan pasien, yaitu anak-anak cancer ya, terutama ini stadium lanjut, di mana anak-anak ini seperti yang dikatakan sama dokter tadi kan, anak-anak ini dia tidak berdiskusi dengan permasalahan ataupun kebutuhan yang dia inginkan seperti itu. Nah, jadi anak-anak ini lebih cenderung untuk mengkomunikasikan kebutuhan-kebutuhan itu dengan cara-cara yang berbeda yang mungkin saja sulit bagi kita orang dewasa ataupun perawatnya untuk mengerti apakah memang benar ini yang dimaksudkan oleh si anak ini gitu. Nah, jadi hal ini menjadi suatu tantangan tersendiri bagi perawat itu untuk meningkatkan kemampuannya dalam merawat pasien-pasien anak itu terutama anak-anak dengan end of life care karena dengan segala kebutuhannya yang spesial ya. Nah, jadi dengan itu dari penelitiannya dokter ini anak-anak dengan menggunakan aesthetic nursing practice ini, di mana anak-anak itu akan terinspirasi oleh pengalaman emosional mereka sendiri, dan mereka itu akan menggunakan skillnya dalam menggambar ataupun menulis untuk mengekspresikan emosinya. Maka aesthetic nursing inilah terutama ya dengan menggambar ataupun menulis seperti yang dikatakan dokter tadi, itu akan menjadi salah satu cara bagi kita untuk memahami lebih dalam, lebih holistik itu terhadap anak-anak dan terutama itu anak-anak dengan end of life care atau anak-anak dengan advanced cancer gitu. Okay, Miss Barbara, for the next session, we will go to accept first 3 questions first.
Thank you.
Either from Zoom or YouTube.
Okay, there is a question in the chat box coming from Yulia. Yulia from the Bachelor of Nursing Program, Muhammad Natsir University.
Yes.
Will I read the question?
Okay, this is from I would like to ask some question for Miss Barbara. As my experience, most of the children don't understand about death. They accept whatever happened to them, and most affected are the parents and family of the children. Children tend to be sad because they see their parent and family sad, and this worsens the mentality of children at the end of their life. What is the best solution for this problem, Mrs.
Okay,
Barbara?
that is a very good question. I would like to tell you that with the 10 children that I have interviewed, parents were ready because they were informed by their doctors that you have to be ready anytime for the death of the children. So children, in their own way, they give motivation and inspiration, because when they go back to school after chemotherapy, they are normal again, because their classmates, their teachers, and their friends do not look at them with cancer. But sad to say, sometimes it really happens. Like, for example, the 3 children that I have interviewed with their drawings, one with cancer on the eyes, the other one cancer with the blood, leukemia. Two female died with leukemia, and one with osteoblastoma. So the reason was not due to cancer, because they were continuing on with their medications. The reason was because of COVID. Because you know very well that when you are under chemotherapy, the immune system falls down. It is very low. And during the time, maybe they were exposed to persons with COVID. So there was nothing they could do. They have to accept it. No, it is given. It is it was not an accident, but actually it was an added condition for their present situation. So we have no control about it, because children, they prepare themselves, but as you have said, you cannot really expect the worst to happen. As long as you want to stay on, but it cannot be prolonged. Even with chemotherapy, cancer cannot be prolonged, especially if it is already metastatic. Okay, thank you for the opportunity, Miss Wasal. I cannot pronounce your name, it's very long, no? So
Yeah,
thank you for asking the question.
thank you for the explanation, Mrs. Barbara.
Mm-mm.
Uh, there is another question. Here I got. So, as a nursing, based on your research, like drawing and writing from the children. So, as a nurses, what ability we have we should to have to understand what the meaning of their drawing or writing, to understand them. So what the ability for the nurses need to understand the drawing or writing from the patient.
Okay. So in my case, I have to sit down with the child and then tell a story of her drawing because I cannot understand it on my own. So I have to ask her to explain in a story what the drawing is all about, because each item in the drawing has a meaning. Like, for example, I will tell you, there was another child, this time a male child, whose drawing was with old people, the grandparents who was taking care of him, and the mother on the other side with a broken heart. I said, what is the meaning of your picture? Can you tell me? Can you explain to me what is the meaning of the broken heart? And then I understood him when he said that when I was diagnosed with cancer, it was the moment my mother left me. So when the child told me about his story, I could not hold my emotions because it was heartbreaking for me also. The mother left him at the height of his condition. In fact, he was carried to school by his father. The father would carry him on the back to be able to go to school. And that was really amazing. So if I did not ask him about the broken heart, I will not understand it. See, because the mother left him for another guy in Manila and sacrificed him when he was very young, and he did not understand it because the parents separated and had their own families. So, meaning you have to sit down and you tell the child to tell the story of the drawing, because each of the items in the drawing will represent a meaning, and you will never understand it if you do not ask the child. See, so you will tell them to tell the story and then write it down. So you will be able also to understand. And after my first interview, I have to go back and ask again to confirm if my understanding was correct. And I had 3 interview sessions to ask if it was really correct, to confirm all the statements, because my transcription was very detailed and I have to go back and forth reading it and ask children if my understanding of their drawing was correct. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, Mrs. Barbara. So we still ask to the patient and tell again to us
Mhm.
about what is the drawing or
Yes.
telling about it. So it doesn't mean that as a nursing we need to take another course, art course, or for a nursing like that. So we didn't need.
You don't have to take
Yeah,
another
yeah.
course. Maybe
Yeah.
you can have a workshop. I can help you with a workshop.
Yes, material kind like art in nursing, something like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Barbara.
Yeah.
We still
Thank
have,
you.
yes, we have still one, two, the last question from Nurul Aini,
Mm-mm.
from Bachelor of Nursing program in our university. I would like to ask some question for Mrs. Barbara. If at school there are students who are left behind from their friends, then the way they walk and talk is also strange. Considered special by all teachers, and their parents are directed to give special attention by sending them to schools that accommodate children with special needs. But her parents think it's normal. How do you deal with it?
Now,
How?
yes, thank you for the question. That is very good question because I have encountered, I think there were two of them, two children who were going to school but have to stop because they have to be treated for their advanced cancer. Now, these children understood that they have to stop. They were left behind by the others. Others were already progressing to another level in their school, but it doesn't matter as long as they can finish their school. They said they won't matter unless they will really stop schooling, because these children enjoy life in their school. To them, the school was a sanctuary where they can be happy. Sometimes when they are in school, they forget about their cancer. That's how they told it. And they shared also that at home, sometimes they get isolated because they cannot see their friends, they cannot play with their friends. So school was always fun to be with. So in spite of their chemotherapy, when they feel good, they go back to school. When they don't feel good, they go to the hospital. See? Okay, there's another question from Asal
Aisha, from Aisha.
Aisha.
Yes. This is for the last question.
Yes.
Aisha from the nursing diploma.
Mhm.
I have a question for Mrs. Barbara. Some people say that children should not be told they have a cancer. It's kind of culture, Mrs. Because it will give a bad impact for themselves. What we have to do as a nurse with this?
Okay. Now, it is not you as a nurse who will tell the family or the child that they have cancer. It will be coming from the physician, from the doctor who attends to their consultation every now and then. So for us here in the Philippines, I think we are already some kind of westernized because we have doctors who come from the United States, from Australia, from everywhere. And we do not keep cancer from patients. We have to inform them so that they will know and they can prepare themselves, because maybe in the rural areas, it is not yet very common. But when you come to hospitals in the city and you are diagnosed, then you have to be informed so that treatment can start immediately, and then the patient himself or herself can also participate by trying to be cooperative, because if you do not cooperate, then you will die early with cancer.
So it's better still we inform the patient even they still a kid.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Barbara.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for your
Thank you
questions.
very much. Okay, Miss Barbara, that's all for the question.
Thank
And
you.
as a conclusion, a short conclusion, so through this aesthetic nursing practice, such as writing or drawing, could be a helpful ways for us to understand more the patient, especially children in advanced
Right.
cancer. Well, now this is the end for the second session, and
you.
thank you very much to our special speaker, Mrs. Barbara, for such an amazing knowledge we got at this moment in this webinar.
Thank you. It's
Okay.
been a pleasure to join you this morning, and I would be happy if you will invite me again for another,
Occasion. Okay. Yeah.
occasion. Yes. Thank you so
I
much.
really love to thank you, Barb.
Thank
Yes,
you.
you are most welcome, Mrs. Barbara.
Thank you.
Yes.
And still with me here as moderator for the third session, we have another outstanding young speaker, Nurse Feni Betriana, MNS PhD. Is Miss Feni already here with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Miss Feni, okay. Good morning, Miss Feni.
Good morning. May I share my screen or? Okay, sorry.
Okay. Let me introduce our speaker to the audience. Miss Feni was graduated from Universitas Andalas for Nursing Bachelor, Prince of Songla University, Thailand for Master of Nursing Science, and Tokushima University, Japan for PhD. Ohayo gozaimasu, Miss Feni. Ogenki desu ka? Well, Miss Feni is an independent researcher in Indonesia. Miss Feni has a lot of awards and publications, which are most of them indexed by Scopus, either as the first author or as the team. For example, Aesthetic in Nursing Practice as Experienced by Nurses in Indonesia, a Phenomenological Study. In this article, Miss Feni as the first author, and also this article got indexed by Scopus. And there are so many articles and publications. And we can't wait any longer. Let us start the presentation from Miss Feni for the next 50 minutes with topic using aesthetic expression to understand nurse grief in dealing with patient death at the end of life care. And Miss Feni, during the presentation, kindly mix the explanation bilingual Indonesian and English, since our audience are almost Indonesia, so it may help the audience understand more. And now, please welcome Miss Feni Betriana, MNS PhD.
Thank you very much. May I share my screen?
Okay, wait a second.
Okay. Okay, do you see my screen now? Okay, I believe that now everyone can see my screen, right? Okay, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to my presentation. First of all, allow me to express my gratitude to the rector, vice rector, the dean, and all the management of Universitas Muhammad Natsir Bukit Tinggi for the opportunity to be here. I'm very pleased to be here with all of you to share about the use of aesthetic expression to understand nurses' grief in dealing with patients' death. I'm Feni Betriana. And to Dr. Waraporn and Dr. Barbara, please allow me to use bilingual language. So for some part, I'm going to use Bahasa Indonesia, and for some part, I'm going to use English. So the material that I'm going to present today is using aesthetic expression, especially drawing and also poem, to understand nurses' grief in dealing with patients' death. As we know that at the end of life, nurses take care of the patients. And when nurses take care of the patients who are very near to the death, when the death comes, it is not only patient's family who experience the grief, but also the nurses. However, grief is a difficult and subjective experience that might be unique for each person and that cannot be described easily by verbal. So here we use aesthetic expression, especially drawing, to collect the data to understand nurses' lived grief experience in dealing with patients' death. So in Indonesian language, berduka bagi perawat itu merupakan hal yang unik. Ketika pasien meninggal, biasanya itu proses berduka itu tidak hanya dialami oleh pasien, oleh keluarga pasien, tapi juga oleh perawat gitu. Walaupun berduka perawat karena kematian pasien itu tidak banyak dibahas. Nah, karena berduka yang dialami oleh perawat karena kematian pasien itu adalah hal yang unik dan mungkin sulit untuk dijelaskan secara verbal, maka kita menggunakan aesthetic expression, bentuk estetik untuk menggali informasi tersebut, untuk mengerti makna dari fenomena berduka yang mereka alami. Dengan cara apa? Aesthetic expression-nya itu adalah dengan drawing atau dengan gambar. Jadi perawat itu dipersilahkan untuk menggambar hal yang merepresentasikan pengalaman mereka, dan dari sana nanti kita gali bagaimana pengalaman mereka, seperti itu. Jadi aesthetic expression yang digunakan di sini adalah drawing. And also at the end of the study, the researcher also reflected the lived experience of the research by poem, so that the researcher can understand more deeply about the research that had been conducted by poem. Dan setelah data dari pasien terkumpul, maka perawat akan, peneliti, yang di sini saya sendiri itu merefleksikan pengalaman saya pribadi terhadap apa yang saya alami dengan partisipan saya itu dalam bentuk puisi gitu. Nah, here we will see that. So, so this is what the presentation will be about. And this study, most of the material of this study is based on our research article published in Intensive and Critical Care Nursing with the title Lived Experiences of Grief of Muslim Nurses Caring for Patients Who Died in an Intensive Care Unit, a Phenomenological Study. The study with my advisor, the first speaker today, Associate Professor Dr. Waraporn Kongsuan. And before we start, we would like to disclose that we have no potential or actual conflict of interest related to this presentation. And in this moment, I also would like to acknowledge my teacher, Associate Professor Dr. Waraporn Kongsuan, my teacher, the corresponding author of this article, and also the theorist, which we already hear and learn from her the theory of aesthetic nursing practice for all the inspiring guidance in this study and also in my academic journey. Thank you very much, Ajahn. Okay, now we are going to start with the background of this study, the how nurses deal with the grief. So grief is a response to a loss. And when patients' family died, when patients died, the grief is not only experienced by patient's family, but also by nurses who take care of the patients. And however, in this situation, mostly nurses are not expected to express their grief because of the provisional stigma. Provisional stigma occurs when nurses accept the grief of patients and their families, but they feel difficult to accept their own grief or their college of grief. So it might, if nurses might not express their grief and therefore keep it inside or simply neglect the feeling, it will cause to several negative consequences. For example, burnout, cumulative stress, and ineffective coping. So this study, we aim to describe the meaning of the lived experience of grief among Muslim nurses, in which we took the data by aesthetic expression and then followed by interview. Okay, and now we go to the methodology. In this study, we used Gadamerian philosophy to underpin the hermeneutic phenomenological approach. Gadamer in 1975 stated that when the experience is shaped into an object, the meaning of the lived experience becomes deeper. So for example, one phenomenon, grief among nurses, that is maybe difficult to explain verbally because of the provisional stigma, because of the many factors that nurses have. And however, when that phenomenon, when that experience, that grief experience is shaped into object, for example, an art object, a drawing or a poem, then we can dig the meaning, or the meaning of that lived experience become deeper. Jadi, so misalnya seperti fenomena yang agak sulit untuk diungkapkan, seperti proses berduka perawat yang mungkin sulit untuk dijelaskan oleh perawat karena banyak quote-unquote professional stigma, maksudnya kok perawat berduka sih pasien meninggal, seperti itu. Nah mungkin kok perawat sedih sih pasien meninggal, tidak profesional sekali. Nah hal yang seperti itu adalah professional stigma. And ketika profesional stigma itu muncul, maka pengalaman berduka perawat itu akan sulit untuk diceritakan oleh perawat. Nah, fenomena yang sulit untuk diceritakan tersebut, yang sulit untuk dijelaskan secara verbal tersebut, ketika diubah bentuknya menjadi objek, menjadi sebuah objek seperti apakah itu gambar, maka kita diharapkan bisa menggali makna dari fenomena tersebut lebih dalam. Begitu. And then in this study, we have 14 participants, nurses who met the inclusion criteria. Then how did we collect the data? So we asked the participant to illustrate their grief experience after patient's death through graphic representation. We gave them a blank piece of paper and they were allowed to use colors. And they were given time as long as they wish to complete the task. So when we collected the data, we asked the participant, please draw a picture that represents your experience when your patient died. It can be your feeling, it can be your situation at that time, it can be your reaction at that time, or everything that comes to your mind. And after they had drawn, the participants were asked to reflect on the meaning of what they had drawn. And the graphic representation and interview transcriptions were analyzed using feminine approach. This here I showed you some of the findings. The first is we can see this is the fallen leaves. You can see that there is a big tree, and around the big tree the leaves fell. When I asked the participant, who was a male participant, he said to me that this big tree represents the nurse with strong heart, because he was a male nurse, and he said, oh, I'm a strong heart. I have a strong heart. However, when the patient died, especially those who had similar characteristics with his family members, he felt sadness and empathy in the heart, like the leaves fell from a big tree. Jadi gambar ini digambar oleh seorang perawat pria, Ketika saya minta beliau menggambar, kemudian beliau menggambar pohon yang besar dengan daun-daun yang berjatuhan. Gitu. Ketika kami bertemu kembali, saya bertanya apa makna gambar ini. Beliau menjelaskan bahwa saya ini perawat laki-laki. Saya punya hati yang kuat, kata beliau. Tapi jika ada pasien saya yang meninggal, yang punya karakter sama dengan misalnya kedua orang tua saya, pasiennya bapak-bapak sama usia dengan ayahnya misalnya, atau pasiennya ibu-ibu sama usia dengan ibunya misalnya, maka perawat tersebut merasakan ada yang jatuh gitu, ada yang jatuh dari hatinya. Seperti daun yang jatuh dari pohon yang besar gitu. Itu rasanya sedih dan juga empati. Nah, seperti itu. This is one of the finding. Another picture. This picture showed a husband holding a baby, and when I asked what is the meaning of the picture, the nurse participant said that if the patient died, I thought about how the baby's life would be and how the husband would take care of the baby. Jadi, perawat partisipan ini mengalami pengalaman berduka terhadap kematian pasien itu pada saat beliau melihat pasiennya meninggal setelah melahirkan gitu. Dan yang gambar yang terekam atau yang diingat oleh beliau itu adalah ketika suami pasien tersebut dengan air mata bercucuran itu menggendong bayinya yang baru lahir gitu. Sedangkan pasien perempuannya meninggal seperti itu, atau istrinya meninggal seperti itu. Dan pada saat itu perawat tersebut merasakan such as grief in the heart because of the death of the patient and seeing the patient's family member. Okay, next. Another picture, you can see the stair reaching the cloud. So this is stair and this is cloud, reaching the clouds. And then when I ask about what is the meaning of this drawing, the participants said, dealing with patient's death, having grief in the heart, raise their awareness of their own death, and they think about their preparation to face death and hereafter. So participant 10, who drew the picture, said that, I have to prepare myself and my faith, so when death comes, I'm prepared to face the days after life. Jadi ini adalah gambar tangga menuju ke awan. Nah, ketika saya tanya kepada perawat yang menggambar ini, beliau mengatakan bahwa saat berhadapan dengan kematian pasien, saat merasakan hal grief, kematian pasien, yang terpikirkan bagi beliau itu adalah bagaimana kematian beliau nanti, seperti itu. Bagaimana persiapan beliau untuk menuju kepada kematian. Gitu. Jadi tangga, kemudian awan ini adalah seperti afterlife, akhirat ya. Sedangkan tangga ini adalah pengalaman beliau dalam menghadapi kematian pasien gitu. Itu seperti anticipating for their own death. Okay. Another picture, you can see this picture of loss of successful care. You can see that there is a woman, smiling woman here, and there is a patient here. This is the nurse. The nurse participants say that when she dealt with the death of the patients, she felt loss of the successful caring. Why? Because her expectation is this one. The patient smiled again. The patient got recovery. The patients become healthy again. However, in fact, it is not the patient healthy again, but sometimes the patient died, and she felt that she lost her ability, her successful caring to care for the patients. So participant 1, who drew this picture said that maybe I feel disappointed because when I take care of the patients and the patients show improvement, I feel happy, the caring is successful. But if the patient dies, I feel disappointed and sad. So this is how the previous pictures are some of the representative of the pictures of the finding. Actually, we have 14 pictures here. However, it will be run out of the time if I present all the 14 pictures. So I presented some, and you can, if you want to see the other pictures, you can maybe search our articles, which is available online. And for the finding, which in which we use the Phenomenon of 2014 to analyze our data, interview transcriptions and pictures. Finally, the data were categorized into 5 lived worlds that which are lived other, empathetic understanding, lived body, balancing self, lived space, avoidance, lived time, anticipating the future of on death, and lived things relating technologies and bargaining. And some of those previous pictures that we presented before had represent each of the life lived worlds here. Okay. And then the reflection. So those are pictures or drawings that were drawn by the participants. And after or at the end of this research, my advisor, Associate Professor Warapon Kongsuan, encouraged me to do the reflection. So we reflect from the lived experience that we had from conducting the study into another type of aesthetic expression. And this time, I wrote a poem regarding my lived experience in conducting the study for nurses dealing with their grief experience and deal with patients' death. So here, I'm going to read this poem for you. The title is The Day When You Left. The day when you left is the day when the patient died. And after I read the poem, and then I will go back and explain a bit about the meaning of the poem. Okay, The Day When You Left by Philippa Triana. The day when you left, I chose to keep you stayed alive, begging you to leave, begging and begging and begging, injected adrenaline and forced you to stay. It's not your time, but God had another plan. He chose you to leave, and you left me without even saying goodbye. Another day when you left, I chose to run away. I hid, couldn't see your cold body, but they kept calling me, asking me to do post-mortem care. Why didn't they just let me alone and grieve for a while? Was I not allowed to cry and heal myself? The day when you left, I felt it was me who couldn't save you. I wished I could do some other things, but I couldn't. You left that fast, and I really wanted to cry, but there was a clear scream inside my head. No, you cannot cry. Behave professionally, it said. And I resisted my eyes not to shed tears, but no matter how hard I tried, one tear dropped, and I wiped it quickly, so they didn't see me cry. One day when you left, I let myself cry. I stood there in the bedside of your cold body, next to your child, your husband, your beloved ones. I was becoming one of them, as half of my soul already with you before you left. Another day when you left, let us surrender. We guided you to recite Shahada, prepare you for the peaceful death to meet God. May God forgive your sin, I pray. I will surrender to let you go because I know that day living would be much better for you than holding the pain for a bit longer. You have gone like years have gone, but the memory stays, and I still recall every single thing when I care to you, even you have gone, even years have gone since the day you left. Okay, so that's the poem that I wrote. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this, the meaning of each paragraph. The first, the day when you left, I chose to keep you still alive. So this is the nurses here told me the story that when the patient died, he and she tried very hard to keep the patient live. So she said, like, it's not, the patient cannot die, the patient cannot die. Injecting adrenaline, doing RGP, and let's do a lot of things. But at the end of the day, the patient died. And the nurse felt that they lost their successful caring. If you go back to see the previous picture, that's the loss of the successful caring. And then paragraph 2, I chose to run away. So there are some participants say that, oh, we cannot deal with the death of the patient. We felt that we want to run from this room, and the patient died, but we cannot. The another nurses will call and please do postmortem care. It's not wrong because it's a part of the nursing task. But some of them think that why we cannot just cry and heal ourselves. They say like that. And paragraph 3, it is say that I really wanted to cry, but there was a clear scream, no, you cannot cry. So the nurse participants said that sometime when seeing the patient died, they wanted to cry, they wanted to shed the tears, but they remember that they are using white food, they are wearing white uniform, and they are not supposed to cry when the patient dies. So even if the one tear dropped, they will wipe it quickly so that nobody will know that they cried. And another paragraph, I let myself cry. I stood there with the family. So there are participants say that sometimes they really cannot hold their crying, their tears, and seeing the patient's family, being around the patient's family, seeing the patient's family cry at the time will make them feel the similar situation and will make them shed tears also. And then I will surrender. I guided you to recite Shahada. Shahada is a statement of oneness of God, and Muhammad is upon him is the messenger of God that we recite before the Muslim died. And they said, and it is said, I will surrender to let you go because I know living would be much better for you than holding the pain. So there are also situations when nurse participants said, okay, this person, if they live longer, it will be very much pain, usually like patients, the old patients, and the patients who have been suffering for a very long time, they think, okay, we are surrendered to let them go. And the last paragraph, we have gone like years have gone, but the memory stays. Because when the nurse participant told me the story, I always ask when this particular experience happened. And they said, oh, it was like 10 years ago. And so like, no, 10 years ago, and they still remember, oh, it was like 5 years ago. So it's not something that happened yesterday or the day before yesterday, but it happened a long time ago, and they still remember that. So that's why I said we have gone like years have gone, but the memory stays. Oke. Jadi ini adalah puisi yang saya tulis setelah saya mengumpulkan data setelah penelitian ini berakhir gitu. Jadi Dr. Waraporn yang saat itu adalah pembimbing saya, beliau mengatakan bagaimana kalau kamu buat suatu aesthetic expression yang merefleksikan pengalaman kamu. Kemudian saya membuat puisi. Jadi puisi ini saya tulis setelah saya membaca transkripsi dari partisipan, melihat picture, melihat drawing mereka dan seterusnya. Gitu. Kemudian saya tulis puisi ini. Nah, puisi ini paragraf pertama itu tentang partisipan saya yang berusaha kuat agar pasien mereka tidak meninggal gitu. Walaupun pada akhirnya harapan mereka tidak sesuai dengan kenyataan. Nah, paragraf kedua itu tentang bagaimana mereka rasanya ingin pergi ketika pasien itu meninggal gitu, karena mereka merasa mereka ingin menenangkan diri gitu, tapi kemudian mereka harus tetap berada di situasi tersebut, harus tetap berada di situasi itu, karena mereka harus melanjutkan dengan postmortem care dan seterusnya gitu. Paragraf ketiga, perawat partisipan yang mengatakan rasanya itu ingin menangis ketika pasien itu meninggal gitu, tapi seperti ada suara di kepala yang bilang nggak boleh, perawat tidak boleh menangis gitu, harus profesional dan seterusnya gitu. Dan jika ada air mata yang drop, yang jatuh, walaupun itu satu akan cepat dihapus seperti itu. Kemudian paragraf keempat adalah tentang perawat yang tetap menangis karena berada di antara keluarga pasien gitu. Nah, ternyata reaksi keluarga itu juga berpengaruh terhadap reaksi perawat ketika pasien itu meninggal gitu. Nah, paragraf kelima itu adalah tentang surrender, ikhlas, rela gitu, rela kalau pasien ini meninggal gitu, karena melihat pasien itu yang mungkin sudah menderita lama, sudah sakit lama gitu, daripada sakit lama kemudian berada dalam kesakitan, suffering gitu, maka mereka merasa ikhlas dan rela menuntun pasien untuk mengucapkan syahadat ketika pasien itu meninggal gitu. Nah, kemudian paragraf terakhir, you have gone like years have gone. Walaupun itu sudah lama, ternyata memori tersebut masih ada gitu, masih stay in their mind seperti itu. Now we go to conclusion. So conclusion, aesthetic expressions such as pawan, drawing, that can be used for collecting data and as data to understand the lived experience that might not be easy to explain verbally. An aesthetic expression can also be used as a way of reflection in this study. And remember that aesthetic expressions facilitated the participants and the researchers to find the meaning of their lived experience. So aesthetic expression itu bisa memfasilitasi baik itu partisipan dalam penelitian ataupun peneliti sendiri untuk memahami lebih dalam makna dari lived experience. Thank you very much for your attention. And I have a brief, I'm sorry, but there is a brief information because I heard that when Dr. Waraporn explained about as nerve theory, and Dr. Waraporn frequently mentioned Dr. Loxton theory. So I would like to give a brief information that might be benefit for us, that Dr. Loxton theory book will be available in Indonesian soon. So previously this book, theory book, is only provided in English and also in Japanese. But however, soon it will be provided in Indonesian language. So it has been translated into Indonesian language, and hopefully later it will be, we can access it more easily. Thank you very much. I think this is all about my presentation, and thank you very much for your attention.
Okay. Thank you very much, Miss Fanny. And what a beautiful poem. So touching and emotional. Well, Miss Penny, we will go to the question and answer session. There is Miss Penny, this is the first question. Dr. Penny, if it is possible, could you please share with us as a nurse how to be a strong nurse to face problem with end of life care of patients? And thank you in advance.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the nice questions, Shirley Hanivaryanti, and also thank you very much for coming. So, how a nurse with strong heart face problem with end of life care patients. So, what I learned from the research that I conducted is somehow how a nurse deal with the situation. There are various factors behind. For example, the length of years that nurses has deal with that situation. So some nurses, especially the novice nurses or nursing students who just undergrad or who just have practice in the hospital and never had such experience, they can find it very difficult to deal with. However, if they have various situations that they already dealt with and they already have many experience, then they can train from the experience. Also, support from the colleagues. Also important, and share with the colleagues is important because nurse college has the same situation that the nurse has faced with when they deal with the patients death. So when they share with the college, it helped them to deal more better with patients' death. And also relying on spiritual strength also helped nurses to deal with the situation. So I hope I answered your question. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. And for the second question, from Yulia Reski, saya ingin bertanya kepada Ibu Feni, bagaimana menghadapi pasien yang malah kembali marah ketika kita menunjukkan rasa simpati atau empati kita kepada mereka. Mereka seperti tersinggung karena kita menganggap rasa empati kita mungkin merasa marah karena kita terkesan menerima keadaan mereka sekarang, sedangkan mereka belum menerimanya.
Okay, thank you very much, Yulia Reski, for the question. This is a nice question. So I'm going to try to answer the question in Indonesian language. Jadi bagaimana menghadapi pasien ya ketika kita menunjukkan rasa simpati atau empati kita kepada pasien. Yang perlu kita ingat ketika kita berhadapan dengan pasien itu yang penting itu adalah trust relationship gitu. Ketika kita bertemu dengan pasien, we need to build this kind of relationship. Kita tidak bisa langsung datang kemudian langsung walaupun itu anamnesa tapi some of us mungkin melakukannya seperti interogasi gitu atau langsung masuk ke diagnosa inti yang mereka mungkin mereka belum kenal kita, mereka belum percaya kita. Nah, ketika kita langsung berbicara tentang hal yang penting, misalnya, itu akan mungkin membuat mereka sedikit irritated, ya, mungkin tersinggung, gitu, mungkin marah, gitu. Jadi yang penting adalah build a trust relationship with the patients, make they feel comfort with us. Caranya bagaimana? Mungkin pertama itu dengan bertanya dulu, perkenalkan diri, tanyakan dulu bagaimana kabar mereka, tanyakan dulu apa yang bisa kita lakukan untuk mereka seperti itu sehingga mereka nyaman gitu. Nah, ketika mereka nyaman, then you go to the deeper, let's say, questions or the deeper discussion that you want to talk. That's how I think Do I answer your question?
I think yes.
Okay.
Well, Miss Fanny, let's take a break for a minute because it's azan here.
Okay.
For respect the Muslim, all the Muslims.
Okay.
Good. We have the last question here from Nabila Lutfia. Saya ingin bertanya kepada Bu Feni, Bu, bagaimana cara kita sebagai perawat agar tidak salah dalam mengartikan gambar yang dibuat pasien, menginterpretasikan gambar yang dibuat oleh pasien? Atau mungkin perawat mungkin di sini maksudnya, Miss Feni.
Okay, thank you very much for your questions. So for my case, the picture was drawn by nurses, and I asked nurses for the meaning. So I did not guess. I did not interpret myself before asking to them. So I asked to them. That's why, like the first picture, maybe you already saw the big tree with the fallen leaf. I didn't understand that picture. When I saw that drawing, then I asked, what do you mean by this? What do you want to tell me about this picture? What is the meaning of this picture? Then he told me the story. Gitu. Jadi jika ada kita menggunakan let's say drawing atau apapun yang digunakan sesuatu objek seni, apakah itu gambar, apakah itu puisi, kita tidak menginterpretasikannya berdasarkan asumsi kita gitu, tapi kita bertanya kepada mereka gitu. Jadi kalau misalnya nanti let's say siapa ini, Nabila ya, jika nanti Nabila meminta pasiennya untuk menggambar, nah ketika pasiennya sudah menggambar, Nabila tanyakan gitu, ini maksudnya apa gitu. Nah dari sanalah storytelling itu berjalan gitu. Jadi Nabila tidak menginterpretasikan sendiri, tapi Nabila bertanya apa maksudnya, apa arti dari gambar ini, seperti itu ya. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. Well, that's all for the questions for this session. And as short conclusions, so aesthetic nursing practice can be used to both patients and nurses to understand them, because not only patient needs to be understood, but also the nurses as the care provider who will always be involved for the patient care. Well, and this is end of the third session. Thank you very much to Ms. Feni for this priceless information you have shared with us. And we hope some of us can implement the aesthetic nursing practice in the clinic or community and also in the academic. And thank you so much to the audience for your attention, the whole these sessions. And keep it up, because we still have the last session here, which is guided by Ms. Aulia. And now please welcome Ms. Aulia.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Donna. Now we come to the last speaker for this session, Mr. Junaidi Suparman Rustam, escaped nurse MNS from Faculty of Health Science, University of Muhammad Nasir. Mr. Junaidi, are you here? Hello?
Yes, already in.
Okay. Mr. Junaidi was born in January 25, 1982. He has graduated from International Program for Master of Nursing Science in Faculty of Nursing, Prince of Songkla University in 2017. And now he served as the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs in University of Muhammad Nasir Bukit Tinggi. And about the research and publication, there are so many publications of him. One of them is an integrative review of aesthetic expression in clinical practice. It was published in 2018. And the aesthetic expression dalam praktik keperawatan, and also efektivitas terapi murotal Al-Quran dalam perawatan pasien kritis. And now, as the speaker of this seminar, the title is Murotal Therapy as Aesthetic Expression in End-of-Life Care. Okay, Mr. Junaidi, we please.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Aulia, for the opportunity. So I think the last turn for me to discuss a little bit about the integrating aesthetic nursing practice in end-of-life care. Maybe I will try to make it bilingual to make it more understood and then easy to understand. So let me share the file, the PPT. I think we will have a break when Azan come out. Okay, for the last topic, we will discuss about the murotal therapy as aesthetic expression in end-of-life care. And today outline, we will describe about the aesthetic expression in nursing practice. Maybe Professor Warapuan already described about this topic in detail, but I will try to make it more general about the aesthetic expression. And then we will, we will discuss about the murotal therapy that will be as the aesthetic expression, and then how to integrate the murotal therapy in end-of-life care. So aesthetic expression. Aesthetic expression is essential part in nursing. As one kind of therapeutic use in nursing care, it can be provided by interpersonal communication through the art to hear and to meet patient in the real demands. So basically, aesthetic in nursing were important in order to the patient to experience a positive mood and also sense of personal strength. I think the Azan was come out. We will break a little more. Mrs. Aulia.
Okay, we break for 2 minutes maybe for Azan Zuhur. Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen, we back to the sessions. Mr. Junaidi, you can continue the presentations, please.
Okay, we're back for the topic. Now I will describe in Indonesian language. Jadi seperti yang dijelaskan oleh Januara Pon tadi, bahwasanya estetik itu merupakan salah satu bagian penting dalam keperawatan. Seperti kita tahu dari zaman Nightingale dulu, bahkan adanya nilai-nilai estetik yang telah diterapkan dalam memberikan asuhan keperawatan. Contoh sederhananya yang dicontohkan Januara Pon tadi adalah hanya dengan menaruh bunga di samping meja pasien. Itu adalah salah satu sentuhan estetik yang kita berikan dalam merawat pasien. Di sini saya menggambarkan adanya interpersonal communication. Bagaimana estetik ini bisa terbentuk dengan melakukan interpersonal communication dengan pasien. Jadi apa itu berkomunikasi secara verbal ataupun non-verbal. Jadi pada dasarnya estetik ini sangat penting dalam meningkatkan mood yang positif dan juga kekuatan pribadi bagi pasien selama dirawat. Oke. And the next is the aesthetic of caring is a unique relationship between the nurse and the patients, which may be individual or entire community, such as the act of greeting. Patient with the intention of carrying out caregiving is piece of art, which would two people encounter each other. Personally, the interpersonal relationship formed by the act of caring is based on life experience, individual belief, and self-explorations. Internal resources allow nurses to see and integrate themselves into the entirety of act of care. Jadi maksudnya di sini adalah estetik dalam perawatan itu adalah sebagai bentuk hubungan yang unik antara perawat dan pasien. Jadi hubungan ini bisa berhubungan yang sifatnya individu ataupun dengan komunitas atau dalam satu kelompok. Jadi penerapan asuhan keperawatan dengan nilai estetik ini tidak hanya dari individu ke individu, tapi juga individu ke suatu kelompok. Salah satu contoh sederhana yang kita lihat di sini adalah bagaimana memberikan estetik dalam menyapa atau melakukan greeting. Contohnya menyapa tidak dengan greeting itu misalnya pagi Pak, seperti itu ya. Atau dengan sentuhan, selamat pagi Bapak, bagaimana kabar hari ini. Itu adalah contoh bagaimana menerapkan nilai estetik ini dalam menyapa pasien. Itu akan tentu saja akan memberikan mood yang positif pada pasien kalau kita menyapanya dengan adanya nilai estetik di dalamnya. Contoh sederhana lainnya, kemarin saya pernah bicara juga di kelas, bagaimana kita menggunakan wangian. Ini perawatnya menggunakan wangian yang enak bagi pasien. Jadi memberikan sesuatu stimulan yang positif. Kalau seandainya kita mau bertemu atau berkomunikasi dengan pasien yang sedang kita rawat. Jadi nilai-nilai estetik ini tanpa kita sadari, ini bisa diterapkan kapanpun dan dimanapun dalam kita melakukan asuhan keperawatan. Jadi penerapan ini, hubungan interpersonal ini bisa terbentuk berdasarkan dari adanya pengalaman hidup dari seseorang. Kemudian adanya keyakinan diri dan juga bagaimana kemampuan diri untuk mengeksplor. Jadi bagaimana seseorang bisa menerapkan nilai estetik ini yaitu berdasarkan itu tadi. Oke. Jadi dari Wickstrom di sini menjelaskan adanya beberapa reason of nurses to use aesthetic expression in nursing practice. First, it helped the patient to pass the time, and then it distract the patient from their pain, and it also was tedious for the patient to be hospitalized It was a way to make complete break in the patient routine, and it was a way to get to know the patient, and it stimulate communication with the patient, and it encourage interaction with the patient. Jadi ada beberapa alasan yang dapat untuk kita menerapkan aesthetic expression ini dalam memberikan asuhan keperawatan atau praktik keperawatan. Yang pertama, dengan memberikan nilai estetik ini bisa membuat pasien merasa tidak bosan selama dirawat di rumah sakit. Kita bisa membantu pasien pass the time, melewati waktu yang mereka jalani selama mereka berada di rumah sakit. Dan juga ini bisa mendistract mereka dari perasaan nyeri yang mereka hadapi. Tidak hanya nyeri, bisa jadi stres, anxiety, or panic. Jadi banyak negatif efek yang mungkin mereka rasakan, ini bisa didistract dengan penerapan aesthetic expression ini. Dan selanjutnya juga kita dengan memberikan estetik ini, karena kita melihatnya dari sisi perawat ya. Kalau Mrs. Dr. Feni tadi telah menggambarkan and also Dr. Barbara bagaimana pasien juga bisa mengekspresikan feeling mereka dengan estetik. Yang kita bahas saat ini adalah bagaimana seorang perawat mengekspresikan estetik ini dalam memberikan praktek keperawatan. Jadi, it stimulate communication. Jadi bisa menstimulasi komunikasi yang baik, yang intens antara perawat dan juga pasien. Dan juga dengan terbentuknya interaksi yang baik ini, tentu saja kita bisa mengeksplor apa keluhan, apa yang dirasakan oleh pasien, sehingga kita merancang salah satu intervensi keperawatan yang tepat sesuai kebutuhan dari pasien tersebut. Dan di sini dari literatur review yang saya lakukan, it was some intervention that can be described as aesthetic expression. Jadi ada beberapa intervensi yang dapat kita artikan sebagai bentuk aesthetic expression dalam praktek keperawatan. For the first is music therapy. Musik terapi ini adalah bagian dari art. Ada nilai keindahan di sana. Seperti studi yang dilakukan oleh Hub ini, di mana Hub menerapkan musik terapi untuk menurunkan kecemasan kepada pasien yang mengalami renal failure end stage. Jadi pada pasien dengan end stage gagal ginjal. Ini adalah end of life. Kemudian juga poetry, di mana puisi ini mengekspresikan, perawat mengekspresikan bagaimana memberikan atau melakukan asuhan keperawatan itu dengan melalui puisi atau poetry. Seperti yang dilakukan oleh Dr. Feni tadi. Itu sangat emosional bagaimana kita bisa mengekspresikan perasaan yang atau bahkan memberitahukan suatu keadaan dengan sentuhan kata-kata yang indah melalui puisi atau poetry ini. Sedangkan studi yang dilakukan oleh Timmerman di sini adalah visual art. Bagaimana sentuhan visual dengan mendesain ruangan pasien itu dengan nilai-nilai estetik. Di sini Timmerman menggunakan gorden yang berbunga-bunga di ruangan ICU. Gorden ini yang kalau kita lihat tirai atau pembatas ruangan itu yang dengan warna yang hijau lah, hitam lah gitu ya. Di sini Timmerman melakukan salah satu intervensi dengan memberikan corak yang menarik di ruangan ICU. Sehingga pasien yang berada di dalamnya memiliki positive moods, positif efek pada pasiennya. Jadi di sini adalah bentuk sentuhan aesthetic expression yang dilakukan dalam praktek keperawatan. Dan Whitcomb juga menyampaikan dalam integrative review-nya, bahwasanya juga dance ini juga merupakan salah satu aesthetic expression. Salah satunya adalah penerapan berdansa yang dilakukan pada pasien dengan elderly. Oke, tadi ada distraction ya. So dances. Jadi dengan tarian ini juga bisa memberikan salah satu efek positif pada pasien. Jadi tarian yang bagaimana ini sehingga ada olah tubuh yang memiliki keindahan namun memberikan dampak kesehatan. Ini pernah dilakukan untuk pasien lansia. Jadi dibandingkan dengan senam yang mungkin membosankan dengan gerakan yang cukup berat bagi lansia, maka menggunakan tarian yang sehingga lansianya exciting to follow the dance. Jadi ini salah satu yang dilakukan. Kemudian dari evidence lainnya adalah humor. Humor is such a art of aesthetic. Bagaimana meng-create sebuah humor itu sehingga pasien merasa gembira. Ini juga bisa dilakukan oleh seorang perawat. Bagaimana memberikan humor yang baik, humor yang bisa memberikan salah satu efek positif pada pasien. Jadi humor juga such a part of aesthetic expression in nursing practice. Jadi there are many more aesthetic expression, many kinds of that. So I think it can describe a little bit about the kind of aesthetic expression in nursing practice. So is it Morotal therapy is aesthetic expression? I will describe in my opinion, this is also aesthetic because according to Tumiran, describe that Morotal or the Holy Quran recitation can be defined as a form of music and chant, which is very effective for Muslim patients because its sound of recitation is deeply spiritual. The most miracles of the Holy Quran recitation is also can be served as spiritual music because of the harmony with the pleasant song and harmonious vocal music of the Holy Quran recitation can influence all Muslim when it recite with the warm, beautiful voice and attractive phonetic song. Jadi maksudnya di sini adalah saya bisa beropini bahwasanya Morotal terapi juga merupakan aesthetic expression. Karena banyak konsep mengatakan Morotal juga sebuah musik dan juga sebuah lantunan ayat. Di mana ini sangat efektif pada pasien yang beragama Muslim. Karena mengandung nilai spiritual yang sangat dalam. Jadi bisa diartikan Morotal terapi ini adalah spiritual musik. Karena ini dilantunkan dengan menggunakan harmoni, ada harmoni di sana. Ada nilai, ada suara dilantunkan dengan suara yang bagus, dengan tatanan yang bagus. Kemudian apa yang menjadi key point di sana adalah adanya tajwid. Many literature revealed that evidence from several studies that tajwid, pronunciation and duration of the Morotal therapy can influence psychological responses. So tajwid can be referred to the rules of pronunciation during the recitation of the Holy Quran. It also can be defined as giving every letter in the Holy Quran recitation with right articulation, right characteristic, and also right stopping and starting recite the Holy Quran. Jadi adalah esensinya adalah adanya tajwid. Kalau yang dapat kita lihat di sini adanya tajwid yang ada di dalam kita melafazkan atau membacakan ayat Al-Quran ini. Di mana tajwid ini menjadi lantunan ayat suci ini menjadi lebih terdengar indah di telinga. Adanya tajwid ini diartikan sebagai bagaimana kita membaca ayat suci Al-Quran dengan artikulasi yang benar, dengan kalimat atau karakteristik yang benar, dan kapan waktu untuk berhenti dan memulai membaca Al-Quran ini. Jadi, murotal terapi atau the Holy Quran recitation ini is also aesthetic expression. We can see that many studies, many research show that when you listening to the Holy Quran recitation, like a study by Al Hussein in 2040 showed that alpha band of brainwave was significantly increased while the person received murotal therapy, which indicate that patient more relaxed and calm. The increased alpha brainwave implies that the Holy Quran recitation can affect on some hormone and chemical are responsible for relaxation on the patient. Jadi artinya di sini adalah di mana dari penelitian terdahulu menunjukkan adanya perubahan gelombang otak pada saat mendengarkan irama murotal terapi ini. Jadi perubahan ini menunjukkan pasien menjadi lebih rileks dan tenang selama mendengarkan terapi murotal. Hal ini diindikasikan bahwasanya respon ini menunjukkan bahwasanya adanya efek terhadap hormon ataupun chemistry yang ada di dalam tubuh ini untuk menimbulkan adanya respon relaksasi tersebut. Jadi ini menunjukkan bahwasanya murotal terapi ini juga efektif dibandingkan dengan musik terapi. Jadi apalagi pada pasien dengan yang beragama Islam atau Muslim. Jadi terapi murotal yang bagaimana yang baik yang dilakukan? Apakah kita dengarkan selama 1 jam tanpa henti? Apakah ini akan efeknya lebih bagus? Tidak. Jadi berdasarkan hasil penelitian, it should be provided with a constant rhythm, with the amplitude of 30 to 14 decibels. The bit rate is 64 kbps through the MP3 player with the duration for 50 to 30 minutes. Jadi dari studi literatur yang dilakukan bahwasanya terapi murotal ini harus dilakukan dengan konstan, dengan irama yang konstan. Setiap kori memiliki irama yang ada yang tinggi, ada yang iramanya rendah gitu ya. Tentu saja tidak semua kori yang dapat kita gunakan dalam memberikan terapi murotal. Jadi harus dipilih yang memiliki irama yang konstan dengan amplitudenya itu 30-50 desibel dan kecepatannya adalah 64 kbps. Dan sebaiknya menggunakan MP3 player. Jadi menggunakan headphones agar ini lebih intens, lebih in-depth dalam memberikan respon yang baik untuk relaksasi. Dan durasinya juga dari literatur itu adalah yang baik itu 15-30 menit. Jadi itu adalah ibaratnya dosis bagi kita dalam memberikan terapi murotal. Banyak kita berpersepsi sebelumnya mendengarkan sampai 2 jam tanpa henti. Ini malah stressful for the patient. Karena otaknya selalu bekerja, mendengarkan, menyimak sehingga tidak menimbulkan adanya respon yang relaks tersebut. Jadi waktu yang tepat itu adalah 15-30 menit. So, how to integrate murotal therapy in end-of-life care for Muslim patients? Jadi pertanyaan ini bagaimana sih mengintegrasikan murotal terapi pada pasien yang end of life, terutama pasien Muslim. Di sini kalau melihat dari konsepnya, end of life according to WHO, ya, end of life aims to improve quality of life of the patient and families by helping them to overcome various physical, psychological, social, and spiritual problems. To ensure patient comfort in dying process, such as provide spiritual care and basic nursing care, such as nurses can encourage and guide the patient and their family to pray and facilitate them in inviting a religious leader. Jadi menurut WHO, perawatan menjelang ajal ini bertujuan adalah untuk meningkatkan quality of life, yang mana tidak hanya pada pasien tetapi juga keluarga yang sedang merawat pasien yang dalam kondisi menjelang ajal. Jadi ini bisa menunjukkan bagaimana kondisi fisik, psikologi ataupun sosial dan juga spiritualnya bisa teratasi selama pasien dalam fase end of life tersebut, atau yang disebut dengan terminal ill. Jadi selain itu, end of life ini juga bisa memberikan kenyamanan bagi pasien dalam dying prosesnya. Atau juga sering tadi Bu Beni juga ada menyebut adanya peaceful death, meninggal dengan keadaan tenang atau damai. Jadi untuk itu salah satu bentuknya adalah penerapan spiritual care. Jadi kita bisa mengencourage tidak hanya pasien tetapi juga keluarga pasien untuk melakukan spiritual care. Jadi dalam konteks Islam, di sini menyatakan there is no spirituality without religious truth and practice, because religion provides the spiritual path for salvation and is regarded as way of life. For a Muslim, that is believed to be not only a session of complex set of biochemical processes, but also a belief that the spirit continue to live and dying is a passage from this world to the resuscitation. The spiritual needs and preference of the patient may change over the time, and in response to their changing clinical situation. Jadi melihat konsep dari Islam sendiri, konteks dari Islam sendiri, bahwasanya meyakini bahwa kematian itu bukanlah akhir dari suatu buah kehidupan, karena akan ada kehidupan selanjutnya di alam baka. Kita meyakini hal tersebut. Maka dari itu, untuk mengantarkan pasien ke alam berikutnya, diperlukan adanya pemenuhan kebutuhan spiritual mereka sebelum mereka mengakhiri kehidupannya di dunia. Jadi ini adalah challenging juga bagi kita bagaimana mampu memenuhi kebutuhan spiritual terutama pada pasien yang dying. Jadi end of life care pada Muslim pasien itu kita lebih fokus bagaimana memenuhi kebutuhan sehari-hari atau ritual yang kita lakukan seperti sholat, membaca Al-Quran, ya, itu adalah ibadah-ibadah rutin, ibadah wajib yang dilakukan semasa dia sehat. Tugas kita sebagai perawat ataupun melibatkan keluarga, salah satunya adalah dengan memenuhi kebutuhan ini. Dan salah satu pemenuhannya adalah dengan memberikan ini, terapi murotal ini. Because according to the Muslim belief, reading the Quran can produce peace of mind, and these who are near to death. Artinya adalah dengan membacakan Al-Quran, di sini akan adanya perasaan pikiran yang tenang bagi seseorang yang akan meninggal. Jadi mendengarkan terapi murotal, yaitu dengan irama yang konstan, dengan dai yang memberikan relaksasi, ini merupakan salah satu pilihan yang efektif yang dapat kita integrasikan dalam merawat pasien dengan end of life. Jadi saya rasa itu sinkronisasinya antara end of life dengan aesthetic expression in nursing practice. Jadi dari pembenyaparan tadi kita bisa mengambil benang merah bahwasanya bagaimana kaitan antara aesthetic expression, kemudian bagaimana terapi Morotal sebagai aesthetic expression, dan bagaimana mengintegrasinya ke dalam end of life care. So I think that is the last slide for today. Maybe we can discuss after this. And thank you very much for your attention. I bring it back to the moderator. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It mute. It mute.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Junaidi. And now we go to the next sessions, the discussion. If any, please raise your hand and write into the Zoom, please. Okay, this is the first questions for you, Mr. Junaidi. Thank you for nice presentations. And for this different from previous speakers' presentations, explaining about drawing as aesthetic expressions. If you don't mind, could you explain what are other aesthetic expression as a Muslim? Thank you. Keep success, Mr. Junaidi. Can you get it, Mr.?
Yeah, I got it. But is it Shirley from Lampung?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Shirley
Yeah.
Hanifarianti, Miss.
Yeah. Hello, Shirley. How are you? It's really nice to meet you on this webinar. So, according to your question, maybe I will repeat it again. The difference from previous speaker presentation explaining about the drawing as aesthetic expression. If you don't mind, could you explain what the orders aesthetic expression as Muslims? Okay, that will be great. Maybe we will focus on the context of Muslim, right? As my experience when caring patient who dying, like Fanny said, that is on the patient perspective, how they draw their feeling during the treatments, and also how nurses express their feeling when they are grieving. In this topic, I would like to make a bundle of aesthetic expression as nursing intervention. I think for Muslim patients, like zikir, also aesthetic. We have many things, many kinds of rituals has aesthetic values, like zikir, salawat, like also like spiritual music. It has aesthetic expression that you can deliver to the patients. So I mean to say that dari sisi Islam, kita sendiri juga banyak aktivitas atau ritual yang memiliki nilai-nilai estetik. Tidak hanya ritual, tidak hanya Morotal terapi, tetapi juga zikir. Zikir yang berestetik, ya, dengan irama, dengan ininya juga bisa dilakukan dan dibimbing kepada pasien. Selanjutnya juga lagu-lagu rohani. Ini juga bisa pengganti dalam kita memberikan music terapi. Saya rasa pada pasien end of life, mereka memiliki kebutuhan spiritual yang lebih tinggi. Dan tugas kita sebagai seorang perawat khususnya bisa memenuhi kebutuhan tersebut dan mengantarkan pasien yang mungkin akan dijemput ini dalam keadaan yang husnul khotimah, dalam keadaan yang peaceful death. Ya, kita bisa mengantarkan, bahkan keluarganya bisa memenuhi kebutuhan selama dia dalam terminal ill. Ini bisa dipenuhi kebutuhan salatnya, bisa dipenuhi kebutuhan dia melafazkan ayat-ayat suci Al-Quran. I think there's many things, many kind of aesthetic expression that we can deliver to the patient, especially as Muslim patients. I think that is the question of you satisfied with the answer.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Mr. And that's many kind of ritual aesthetic beside murotal. It's like zikir and many other. Okay, any questions? It's so amazing. And maybe any other questions? That's it. Habis. Okay, I think there is no more question for the sessions. And the conclusion maybe the aesthetic expression is a unique part of nursing. Jadi mungkin dapat kita simpulkan bahwa aesthetic nursing ini membuat sebuah hubungan yang unik gitu ya Pak ya antara perawat dan pasien, di mana ini menjadi nilai tersendiri dalam hal membangun kenyamanan, ketenangan pasien dalam menghadapi fase terminal terutama. And the other conclusions, the aesthetic nursing important to experience a positive mood and sense of personal strength. Dan murotal Al-Quran ini menjadi bagian dari estetik di mana berdasarkan hasil penelitian yang sudah disampaikan narasumber kita tadi, bahwa murotal mempengaruhi fisik dan psikologi pasien, di mana dengan membaca atau mendengar murotal Al-Quran, ini meningkatkan relaxing hormon ya dari alfa di gelombang alfa di otak, sehingga ketenangan, kedamaian dan keikhlasan pasien bisa didapat dengan lebih baik lagi. Okay, thank you for all the amazing speaker today. And that will be all for today. We as a committee of this event say thank you very much for your attention. And for all our amazing, spectacular speakers, we say thank you very much for your time, and for your informations. Hopefully, in the future, we could be a part of this theory. And generally, all of the information today can be info for our patients. Okay, and this is the last session. I wish everybody can turn on the camera because we could take some picture of us as documentation. Please turn on the camera. Okay, please, Sukma. Okay, say cheese. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, thank you. So I'm Aulia as the MC today. Is it not? Is it enough, Mister?
Enough. I still stay, Ajan, walaupun still staying with this webinar until the end. Hello, Ajan. Thank you for keeping touch.
Thank you, Ajan.
Excellent.
Thank you, Ajan.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Aulia as the MC today and also the committee of this event. Thank you for your participations and forgive us for any mistakes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ajan. Thank you, everyone. Nice to meet you. Bye.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, students.
Sertifikat